Please note the views and opinions expressed by the hosts on this show are not necessarily the views held by the station.
You're listening to Critical Mass Radio. Now it's our turn.
And good evening, good Wednesday evening, I guess they call it, Odin's Day. Welcome to Outside the Box, open forum. I'm your hostess, Kate of Gaia. And I know we have lots of new people showing up, so it's beautiful to see. We definitely don't talk about anything that you're going to hear anywhere else. I know this. I've been in radio too long, hanging out with too many radio people, and people are still stuck in the delusion. So we're trying our damnedest here to drag people, egos kicking and screaming out of it. It's been a long game, guys. I don't know about you, but I'm kind of fed up with it, New paradigm, And I'm not talking 20 cents here. Not a paradigms, no. New shift, new reality. That which we are creating instead of staring at the nonsense that they have us staring at all the time and getting caught up in quagmires like court games and all the rest of it when it's very easy to shut that down. You don't believe me? Well, I'll tell you why don't you try? That's the problem when people get handed the truth. Many people, it's just too simple. It's just too unbelievably simple. That's why we missed it, you see. So I had a great chat with Alexis today and Ninja as well. So I think tonight's overall theme is about getting you guys to start trusting yourselves again and remove Mrs. Doubtfire from babysitting your ego. Mine too. No, we're all in the game here, so don't be thinking I'm excluding myself. Are you kidding me? No. You see, that is the game. The minute somebody turns to me and says, I don't have any ego, I say, yeah, that was your ego just talking. Great. And, of course, it generally leads into a debate, which is, of course, ego. And, see, told you, I proved it. Yeah, and you'll argue that you don't have an ego all day long to protect the ego that's doing the arguing for you. And you don't even know it. That's the crazy part. People get offended and they get all out of joint and everything else. And it's mind-boggling. And you can see why it becomes a circular trap for all of us, myself included. I was there for a great many years. So if you think I'm special or different, no. I'm certainly different than you, but I am you, right? It's easy to see that when you see it. And this whole individual thing that we have going on, yeah, you're still an individual. There's no question there. We have a shared consciousness. We are of one consciousness from different perspectives. And the whole idea of resonance is to see if you can get part of your perspective aligned with another perspective of you in another body form. And now we're not talking about a mass consciousness here. That's program. What I'm talking about here is reconnecting the individual parts where the information can be shared. A good analogy of that is, and they make it look so scary, the Borg Collective, right? Of course, the one character in Star Trek, Next Generation, was 7 of 9. It's just a coincidence that they would use those numbers. The 7 of consciousness, which of course is the God essence, right? And had to be a divine feminine being of an extraordinary, a symbol of that. And 7 of 9 was most certainly that. So it was all there. I mean, this is a perfect game. We lay it out for ourselves perfectly. It's only us that misses it. And I'm going to ask Ninja. We were talking a bit earlier today, and it was a beautiful perspective. I just want to make sure that I say it right. But that's why I was going to talk to see if you want to come in for a few minutes, Ninja, and see if we can go over this concept of allegory literal that we were talking about earlier, because this is a pivotal thing, and it's a gorgeous way of explaining it, and I'd love to get your thoughts on it. Just open up your line there. There you are. Hello.
Yeah. Hi, Kate.
Yeah. How are you doing?
Good. Thank you.
Good.
And you?
Good. Yeah, we were discussing this earlier. You had a conversation where it was kind of laid out in no uncertain terms, and it's exactly what it is. In order to create the literal, what do we have to create first? And then put it in the mirror. Well, we had to create the allegory first, yeah?
Oh, that's right. Of course, yeah. We were talking about that. It came to me today on a chat that I was having with Carol. Yeah, she just had the epiphany strike her, and she wanted to bounce it off me in case, she doesn't always trust her own judgment, bless her, but she's got excellent judgment. And it was just a case of, go on.
Well, I was going to say, let me say this on the air for everybody. Carol, you have got a very powerful design. I was there the night Santo did your chart. And I need you to know how important it is for all of us to start trusting ourselves instead of Mrs. Doubtfire. The babysitter, ego. Because when I see designs of people with very specific abilities, the importance of that individual, and that's all of us, okay? This is I'm just looking for very specific things right now to see where pieces fit together. And Carol, my dear, you've got a powerhouse set up. So when you doubt yourself, or when anyone does this, when you doubt yourself, you're doubting it for the rest of humanity. So it's a bit of a responsibility there. And this is why, we have to learn to trust ourselves again. I don't mean learn, remember, and stop second-guessing ourselves. The literal will make you second-guess yourself. So if you're doubting yourself, that's your ego. Give it a bitch slap. We talked the other night about reversing the doubt seeds, right? Instead of saying, well, I doubt I can do that, well, pick something you can do and say, well, I doubt I can do that, and listen to your voice. Oh, yeah, you can. Sure you can. Sure you can. So apply the same things. Put everything in the mirror. It's not an easy concept to get across to people, but when you play around with the notion of anti-doubting yourself by doubting something you can do, you start busting that program to shreds. It throws a virus into it, and it frees you up for the things that you may doubt that you can do. And we all doubt that we are infinite creator gods. That's for sure. That's why this game was able to drain us of our power and keep it going for the benefit of others. Lots of neat things going on right now, too. Just got a post from Axel. Let me just share this. Let me see. Oh, I see on the board, Michael. Good stuff. One sec. Go back to Axel. I'm still on the page, right? She sent me a link to the Vatican child prostitution ring, and I just wrote down "Come the Walls of Jericho." And all this stuff's coming out, guys. And please don't forget to include the rabbis and the imams and any other religiopath is what I'm calling them. Sociopath, psychopath, religiopath, psychotics. I don't care what religion, what denomination, where in the world, doesn't matter. When you have religio-psychotic, neurotic, sociopathic individuals that are in a position of power, especially over children, that gets abused. And then, of course, she sent me another link right after it with regards to a priest caught on video masturbating during Mass. So, yeah, these are your churches, boys and girls.
Say that again.
The priest caught on video masturbating during Mass.
Masturbating during Mass?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
I knew you'd get it.
All right, thanks very much.
No, I knew you'd get it. Yeah, so that's why they call it masturbating. There you go, boys and girls. Yeah, that's your friendly local priests. The scribes and the Pharisees, the lawyers and the priests.
Yeah, what do they do at the end of the service when you go outside? What do they do to every single person?
Yeah, they stick their fingers in your mouth.
They shake hands with you, eh?
Yeah, well, prior to that, you walk in, you get your little piece of bread, and they stick their finger.
Oh, that as well. Yeah. So next time you're leaving church and your man there presents you with his hand to shake, you might want to think twice. Jesus.
Yeah, or wear latex gloves. Just saying. It's plus, I tell you, if you don't get the message loud and clear, and not even bother showing up, yeah, that's not a good thing,
The message or the massage?
Either or. Okay. Oh yeah. Actually, I have one of those buttons, Michael. So if you feel like jumping on tonight, we can have a little chat, and because that's kind of where I'm going, and I do want to discuss a bit of what I was discussing with Alexis as well, and it's wonderful, guys, to see the stormtroopers showing up. That's what you are. You're the stormtroopers. If you want to put the allegory in place, we're the 101st Airborne, dropped in behind enemy lines to disrupt communications and dismantle and make everything impossible for the walls of Jericho to stand. And the game's over. We're just going through the final bits of it, so don't be doubting it. Just focus your energy on that. And that's a really big one. The one thing that I want to get across to people is there is no physical need to do or try anything. Got it? Just think it into existence. Put your intention on it. What is it you want? What is it you see? What is it you wish to create in your present moment? Start pondering. Start being the child again and daydream. Daydream of the beautiful things. See, that's the problem with being, all grown up. We spent, almost 50 years here in the quagmire of this nonsense. So there's a lot of garbage to get rid of. Fortunately, I've been, keeping a relatively tidy ship all along, getting rid of as much garbage as I could along the way. But that's a lot of program to bust through, and people are going to be hard on themselves. Don't. Just accept the fact that we got duped. I got duped. We all did. We bought into it. And if you want to test that theory, it's easy. Just decide if you can go back to being part of the system again or not. And if the answer is no, then you're fine. If you can't go back to being a mindless, slave, I won't even call it cattle. It's even cattle that are fenced in have a relative amount of freedom, But and they don't have to carry ID either. Well, they do actually. It's usually tagged to the rear. Is that what you're waiting for? Are you waiting to get bagged and tagged? I mean, they do it for the military and the cops. They give you dog tags. Woof woof. Take the hint. Well, they want to make sure that their animals are well tagged, well marked, so they can call them and identify them by their dog tags. You're going to hang one around the neck of a dog. That's the whole allegory, right? Sorry, I don't wear dog tags. I don't have any identification. And even people still talking about constructs of courts and legal systems and all the rest of it. That's a crock of shit. This is about unveiling the true fraud, the original sin. Know thyself. That was the only clue that was really needed and that was really given. I mean, it's got a lot of layers to it, for sure. But here's how you can know thyself. Very easily. Pull out, if you've still got a licentious, you might want to look that word up. Actually, I'm going to grab the Black's Law. I'm going to look up licentious or licentious. It's a great post today. I'm going to find it again and see who pointed this one out. Just give me a second here while I try to locate my Black's Law book in my packed up stuff here. Where'd I put it? Got to use the magic book. That's just gotta. That's how it works with me. Just trying to remember where I put it. I knew I put it with a couple other things. Okay. I knew I'd feel my way to it. There it is. Just put out the intent. Where is it? And I put my hand right on it. And it was under a bag even. Amazing that when you trust yourself. Whoops. I just lost my mouse. Are we having a good show here, guys? Are we having a great show? I know I am. Hope my mouse still works. All right. I think I knocked it off with the Black's Law book. You know that new little wireless one I got? It's really quite awesome, except for that one little point on it. Just give me a second here, and let's look it up, and let's play. Shall we play tonight? I want to play. And I know Alexis is ready to rock and roll. Oops. Okay. You don't want to be there, bud, because I closed this book. Thank you. Okay. Oh, right to license. How about that? So let's look up licentious. Might not even be in here, right? Oh, there's implied license. Okay. Let me see. Oh, here we go. Licety, or licety, from ecclesiastical law. Imagine that. Which is the legality of an act, especially of a sacrament. You talk about sack and raiments, right? Licety is distinguished from validity in ecclesiastical law. Although an act or some part of it may be illegal, its performance or effects may be valid. Well, there you go. So it says, although an act or some part of it may be illegal, so they're telling you right there that all acts have at least some part of it that is illegal, or all of it is. Right? It's right there. It's in Black's Law, ecclesiastical. So here we go. I'll say it again. Although an act or some part of it may be illegal, its performance or effects may be valid. Really? Isn't that interesting? For example, Roman Catholic law requires that the Eucharist be celebrated with unleavened wheat bread. If leavened bread is used, the bread would be an illegal substance, but the sacrament's validity would not be affected. So what's good for the goose isn't necessarily good for the gander rule. I gotcha. And right after licety, what's the next one? Oh, license. A permission. Love that, eh? Oh, please, master, may I? Yeah, screw off. A permission, usually revocable, to commit some act that would otherwise be unlawful. Especially an agreement not amounting to a lease or profit à prendre, that is lawful for the license to enter the licenser's land to do some act that would otherwise be illegal, such as hunting game. Isn't that interesting? There's a perfect mirror there. So basically, when they say license to kill, they actually mean it. If someone could, I would love for them to look up licentious, or if I can find it on my Facebook, I will most assuredly share it with you. So there we go. Just scrolling down. Yeah, great sermon. Sermon? Yeah. Good one. Okay. Just give me a second here, guys. Oh, this is going to be a fun one tonight. Oh, we have 111 with their hand up again. So let me see if they're there right now. I'll bring them in, but I want to get over to licentious. Caller, have we got you?
All right, have you opened me up?
Carol, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good. Good to hear from you.
Yeah, your guest that you're speaking with made a comment a while ago that she has spoken with me. And,
oh, no, not you. Not you. A different Carol.
A different Carol. Okay, I wanted to make sure that was corrected. Okay, dear.
Yeah,
Thank
no,
you
that's fine. No worries, no worries. Yeah, it was. We have a few Carols that sit at our table, so And we don't particularly use last names, so we'll just say, it's not Carol in the States. That work better?
Well, that does work better because you referred to my astrology chart that Santos worked on too.
That wasn't yours. Yeah, it was the
somebody
other
else.
Carol's.
Okay. All right, sweetie. Thanks a million.
I should have said Taurus. That way you would know.
Okay.
That
you take care.
Okay,
yeah,
hon.
Good call. Bye.
All right. Here we go. All right. So do that. Let's get over to, where are we here? Facebook. We'll cancel that because I ran out of time posting. Okay, I'll have to scroll down on my Facebook here. Where are we? Keep going. Posted a video up today on Facebook as well with Syncretism in Vilcabamba, Ecuador, with Santo, Johnny, and a couple of others. I haven't had a chance to view it yet, but the link is there. And for those interested in catching some of what was going on there, I was really happy to see it. Oh, another interesting site too that I got in an email, and I've talked about this one before. RevenueCanada666.com, and I will mention, guys, 666 doesn't mean Satan. Okay, fuck. Please lose the religiocosis connotations. It's all allegory. 666 is consciousness, damn it. Right. 6 plus 6 plus 6 is 18. 1 plus 8 is 9. Consciousness. All right. It's also the carbon atom. 6 protons, 6 electrons, 6 neutrons. Right. You got to look beyond the literal of that book. All right. Because if you're still kind of translating shit in literal sense from the Bible to try to claim something, spend a little time with Santo or myself or Bill Donahue especially, and you'll get a different perspective on it. All right, and hello, John. I just got your. Oh, and by the way, we're past halfway home. That was quick. I think there's like 2,507 people now, so we're past. We've hit the critical mass, which is really cool. That's why I had to be on criticalmassradio.co.uk. And by the way, I should mention, what we're doing here is brought to you exclusively by criticalmassradio.co.uk. It's Paul Giovanni and at least in the crew at Critical Mass that make this platform possible. So, and by the way, it's a non-profit setup. So anything you guys can do to help, be great. You're just helping yourself, really. Hey, Claudio, glad to meet you as well, and can hardly wait to get a chat with Patty. Yeah, lots of neat stuff coming up there. And don't mind me, I'm still scrolling down. I gotta find where this link was, or this definition of licentious. Okay, where are we? Reaping clergy know all about this word for sure. Lacking legal. Yeah, okay, there it is. Thank you, guys. Definition of licentious. See, just ask and you shall receive. This is from Merriam-Webster. You know, the web of the divine feminine. Mer, re, I am. Just coincidence. Look away. Get that Toto on a leash. He keeps pulling back the curtain of the wizard. All right, so here's a definition of licentious. 1, lacking legal or moral restraints. I guess that means your seatbelt. Anyway, especially disregarding sexual restraints. I guess that's why they like giving out licenses. That way they can really fuck you over. 2, marked by disregard for strict rules of correctness. So there you go. So have a look at your licentious that you're carrying around in your wallet. You might want to send that puppy back. But Kate, how am I? Just shut up. Do it. I just give you the truth. Stand in it. Or you are lacking legal or moral restraints, especially disregarding sexual restraints. Perverts. Thanks, sunshine. Perfect. 2, marked by disregard for strict rules of correctness. That's my favorite Skype icon, the finger one. I love it. I usually put an Israeli flag beside it, though. It just kind of adds more fun to it. So But thank you so much for the posting that dictionary definition. All right. I'm just saying it as it is. There it is. There's your definition. And I read out of Black's Law and read you Ecclesiastical of what it's saying, which when you read that properly, I'm going to read it again. This is critical, guys. You need to... That's my other favorite one. That's the one that everyone knows me by. The mooning one? Yeah. Okay, let me do this again. You guys really... You want truth? Here it is. You may not like it. I am absolutely sure you don't, because effectively we're all walking around as criminals by the choices we have made. And so I'm just trying to put an end to it. That's all I'm trying to do. Oh, and there's Kate. That's my own icon. It works for, you can do the Skype icon with makeup in brackets or Kate in brackets, and it has the same icon. I have my own icon. Ninja has her own, too. So does Bug. Okay, so where was it? Let's read it again. Licety. And the word right after it is license. So these are words that, well, head lice, right? Those are always fun. Ecclesiastical law, the legality of an act, especially of a sacrament. But it's all there. The legality of an act, especially of a sacrament. But that doesn't exclude anything else. Just highlighting sacraments. Licety is distinguished from validity in ecclesiastical law. So it's saying that it's invalid. It's distinguished from it. So it's invalid and valid at the same time. Now, pay close attention to the wording here. Although an act or some part of it may be illegal, what it's saying here is that all acts, or at least some part of all acts, are illegal. It says, although an act or some part of it may be illegal, its performance or effects may be valid. And, of course, the mirror says they may not. That's critical information, guys. I've taken it back to the root. I've showed you where the tree starts. You've got the chainsaws. Thanks. Sorry. Good one, Ninja. In terms of Skype, we just need someone to call themselves Vomit Puke Face, and that one can be taken too. Okay, so there you go. Okay. I'm going to bring you in now, Michael. We haven't heard from you in a while, and we need to hear from you. Just waiting for it to zing through. But it's time for one of those discussions tonight, boys and girls. Yeah, when I went to move the car, it couldn't start because I've got a vapor lock. I'm sitting on an incline, so I just have to wait. It did fire up, but then it chugged out. So there you go. Hey, Michael, how are you?
Hey, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, loud and clear.
Okay, good.
Good to have you.
Hi, Michael.
Oh, it's good. Hi, Ninja. It's good to be back. I've been around, just busy here and there.
Doing your thing.
Dealing with stuff, yeah. Oh, I'll tell you, I mean, it's been tough lately. I just... The Aries in me is just really wanting to...
kick a little ass?
Yeah, I'm just, I'm just kind of tired of bullshit. People.
Yeah, you're tired of the dumbness.
Yeah, dumbness, the idiocy, and, just people, cops shooting people, people acting like assholes, and just want to push the button and dissolve them.
Yeah, well, hey, there you go. You're talking to the dissolver here. That's in my human design chart. I have the dissolution line, 59.
It's been really tough, Kate. I mean, it has. It's been
tougher
know. Than I'm probably admitting. But.
No, I can feel it. Been there, and I know it's not an easy thing to get through. And we're at the final push here, so it's going to be a bit crunchy for based on the cards I pulled today, not for long.
There's just a lot of rudeness,
Oh,
very rude humans.
Yeah, well, that's ego. It's not them. They're completely owned by their egos. Completely owned, They're the ones that are just basically rude. I mean, that's why you have the road rage you have. You're dealing with exploding egos.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Seeing it out there. I mean, I've never, I'm not like that crazy person behind the wheel driving and yelling and screaming and stuff like that. That's just not me. I never have done it. But I've witnessed a lot of it. It's like, whoa, really? Them doing to others, or sticking their necks out the window and yelling and screaming at somebody else at the traffic light and whatnot. So I'm not the only one having moments of emotions, but it's just like,
it's frustrating.
Yeah, when I'm trying to stay neutral in things. When I make comments about stuff, which is very rare, and even that's not good.
Well,
you take a side, and
Well, that's the biggest problem I see, is because when you're dealing with the vast majority of the masses, you're dealing with program. There's no rationalizing with them. Because while that beast owns them, that's the id entity. That's the beast that they're speaking of, and the mark of the beast is the name that goes along with it. That's not who you are. That's the ego that's been named, not you.
Mm-hmm.
We have no names.
Yeah.
We have frequencies, but no. And none shall know my name. None shall know yours. It's the way this game works. It would kind of spoil it if the all-knowing. That's, for me, one of the main reasons why we can play this game is we all have our own secret code frequency that the all-knowing can't access, so that we can play the game separately, right? We're little sparks of the all-spark, so... Oh, and I just had Martin tag me here. And absolutely thank you. It was just nice to get out and about and sort some shit. It was great. But where were we going there? Oh yeah, about the licenses. I get very frustrated. I had a few other tags today as well with regards to different sites showing up. Savior sites. freeworldsomething.net or .org or Save the Planet or Free the Planet and all this other stuff. You don't have to free anything except yourself. And the minute you start going and looking at these things, you're looking outside of yourself for someone to come and save you. It doesn't work that way. You save yourself from within. Right? And what I'm doing now is getting back into the groove, especially with my original tarot and now this beautiful Mayan deck that came in. Holy! I should read to you guys what I pulled today. It was also suggested maybe I'll toss this out. And all good. Sorry, all good. You got a shout out. Yeah, Horsefly just tagged me last night. Took a nice little chunk out of me. It's always good to. I didn't feel it when they do it right. You don't feel it. They kind of anesthetize the area and then they take a little piece out of you. And I looked down and there was this fucking stream of blood, like crazy.
He's licking his lips and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, someone gave me the whole definition. Sunshine again. Thank you, Sunshine. Definition of licentious, part of speech definition, adjective, lacking moral discipline, especially sexually unrestrained, coarse and licentious men. That's from WordNet. 2, characterized by license, passing due bounds, excessive abuse of freedom, wantonly offensive as a licentious press, from Webster's. 3, unrestrained by law or morality, lawless, immoral, dissolute, lewd, lascivious, as a licentious man, a licentious life. You enjoying your licenses now, boys and girls? Being dissolute, profligate, rakish, or debauched. Oh my God, where'd you get these? These are awesome. Being lascivious, lecherous, lustful, voluptuous, or prurient. Eve, graph theoretic. 6, being loose, free, or unchecked. 7, being salacious, ribald, or body. Right? Body? B-A-W-D-Y? How about the body that everyone... I am a living body. Yeah, sure you are.
Yeah.
How did you spell that? Was that B-A-W-D-Y or B-O-D-Y? Damn it, sounds the same, doesn't it? I wonder what a court of law would assume you said. Bet you they'd assume the B-A-W-D-Y. Yeah. All right, how about being unrestrained or unbridled, uncontrolled or uncurbed? Sounds like a criminal to me. Oh, here's a good one. I know a few people like this. Being filthy, indecent, nasty, dirty or foul. An adjective base of the adverb licentiously. Oh, this is good. Oh, sunshine. You wrote a book here. Oh, here we go. In a licentious and promiscuous manner. That's the adverb form. 2, in a rakish, wanton, dissolute, or lecherous manner. In a raffish or immoral manner. Loose, profligate manner. Free or uninhibited manner. See, it has to work both ways, right? And there's where the validity comes in. In a free or uninhibited manner. So when you're given a license, you are free and uninhibited until you do something against their traffic act or traffic codes. Then they can throw the rest of the book at you. Like being salacious, lascivious, or sensual, or lewd, ribald, or pornographic. Or how about debauched or depraved? How about lax or slack manner? Or the rarely used adverbial inflection of the adjective licentious, right? This is all Webster's Revised Unabridged, so they're letting it loose. All rights reserved? Well, yeah, all my rights are reserved. Easy peasy, copy paste, absolutely. Yeah, so when you pull out a license of any kind, you know, your hunting license, your fishing license, your driver's license. That's why I don't have a pilot's license. That's why I never went and got a firearms license. I just did all the training for it. You know, so when they pull a license away, what they're actually saying is, well, now you can do what you want.
Well, I'm going to try to put mine out, showing it to everybody.
Yeah.
Or asking us for it. I think I was doing it 3 or 4 times in the last 2 days.
Really?
Sick of it.
Oh, you know what you're doing? You're vibrating too high, bud. We got to get you. You're actually in the neutral zone. You and me are going to have a chat tonight.
Yeah.
I know what's going on.
Yeah, I have to.
Okay. Well, hey, let's share a bit.
Okay.
No, we're going to share a bit of this on the air. Yeah. What does that Eve mean? I wonder. I was looking at that too. What is this Eve? It's in the definitions. Yeah. So here's the thing. Have you caught much of the last 3 or 4 shows?
Not a lot, no.
Okay, well...
It's probably Friday or Saturday or somewhere around then.
Okay, what you're caught in is the catch-22. The damned if you do and damned if you don't.
Mm-hmm.
Middle ground, okay? And how do you do this? Because I've been where you are, tailed and bothered and everything else, because you're on the radar now. So we need to get you off the radar. How do we do that? Well, we go more intensely into the truth. We make you an untouchable, which is effectively what you are. Because your intent is not to commit fraud, correct?
Oh, yes.
Okay, now what other piece... You're obviously carrying licenses and stuff with you, yes?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, what I'm going to suggest to you is to pull all that shit out of your wallet, everything, anything that has ID in it, in your car or whatever you're traveling in. The only thing you carry is your driver's license. What's the website? Notacitizen.com.
Mm-hmm. Kate, I think you meant to say the only thing he carries is his birth certificate.
What did I say?
Driver's license.
Oh, yeah. The only thing you carry is your birth certificate. Sorry. Thank you for correcting me.
I'm going to take my whole wallet and burn it. That's where I'm at.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Well, I burn mine, and I have a purse now. It's different. It's all good.
If I had one, I'd burn that too.
I know. It's funny. I can grab my purse right now, and the only thing in it is a couple of dollars and birth certificate. That's it. That's all I carry. And the reason why is because that is the proof of the fraud, and they cannot use it for any form of identification. They can't. They'll ask, is that you? Says, well, no, it's not me. This was the fraud. This goes back about 2.5 years ago when a friend of mine was trying to come up through into Canada. I told him lose all forms of identification. At that time, I didn't have the full scope of the power of the birth certificate. And he was asked, does he have a birth certificate? And he did have it, but he didn't know how to handle it. And I didn't know how to handle it then either. Right? I knew the power of it, but I still hadn't got to the point of how do we turn the tables, because as you know, Ninja had said the other night, we were talking, and you have one lock that either locks or unlocks. Right? You have two positions of the lock on your house door.
Yep.
How many keys do you have to open it? How many keys do you need to do it?
One.
Right, and it can do both, right? Lock and unlock.
Mm-hmm.
That's why this whole key row thing is so critical. So the key is in the BC. You just have to turn it which way or the other. And the thing was, it was stuck in the lock bonded stocked position. And what we've done is turned the key back and unlocked the door. Because when I was talking with Alexis earlier, one of the things, and I want to bring a couple of layers up here. This is critically important for people to get this. When you're dealing with someone in the government, that fictional illusional construct, right? When you're dealing with anyone in the government, if they are not of the bar society, they are actually committing fraud using their own name. So let's take, for example, if you were to, have a parole board or something, or a pardon board, or whatever the case may be, a group of people there. They're typically taken just from the general populace. They don't typically use lawyers and stuff like that. So these are just citizens, slaves, that have names that are, being licentious, if you will. And the fact that they're using their name means they're in fraud. This is how you trump this. This is how you turn the table over in the temple. Because when you understand fully that the name that you think is yours actually isn't, it was sold, or it wasn't sold, it was given as a gift without consideration to the crown, unknowingly, unwittingly. Ignorance is not a defense of the law. So for me, I had to show the deliberate, because the system is built around it. It has to be deliberate. It's by their actions they're known. There had to be an intent to deceive and to commit fraud via non-disclosure on the other side. The intent had to be there first before the actual registration occurred. The fact that there was a registration office is proof of the intent to commit fraud, to deceive, to not give. There's your every single government office is proof of the intent to commit fraud. Right? So you got that part. Here's the clincher and why everyone must be silent. A living soul must be silent in a courtroom. That's why they wouldn't let me talk the last day I was in their court. They didn't want to harm me. They were walking and the judge even said it, this was a very tricky situation. You're goddamn right it was a tricky situation. Yeah, because I had them by the short and curlies and they knew it. So they made sure that I didn't talk, because if I was harmed in any way, they're liable. Right? And only they were trying to also keep me in honor. They didn't want me to harm myself either. So keep that in mind. This is both sides of it. You got to stop looking at everything as the ally and the enemy. That's duality. You need to look at it as they are the ally and the enemy at the same time. Okay.
And I haven't been really looking at it that way. That's good clarification.
Mm-hmm. Now let's take ally and enemy and put them together, and I'm going to show you the mirror of both those words. You have the allies, and of course the enemies. All lies and the no vengeances. Both words mean the same, equal and opposite. Ally is, well, all lies, right? So that's not a happy, friendly thing. Mm-hmm. And of course, no vengeance is. So all bar members, and this was a bit of an information that came through my friend Johnny, down in Texas. I haven't talked to him in ages. We talked all the time. When he was talking with a couple of lawyers, he had some inside track. But one of the things that, and quite brilliant in the courtroom too, by the way, because he knew his shit and he was having fun with them. Anyway, one of the things that came across through conversations was the fact that lawyers, when they cross the bar, what they're given is the right of use of copyright. Now that might not sound too important, of the legal books and stuff like that, but more importantly, they can use their own name and be in honor.
How does that work?
Well, they got right to use the copyright. The Crown owns all the names and all the copyrights. What the Crown's saying is, okay, you cross the bar, you can use your name. you have right to use the copyright to your name, so you're not committing fraud. So it places them in honor of using their name. That's why anyone that comes into a courtroom using their name is fucked. It's all set up. Anyone that's a member of the bar, now have a look at politicians. I mean, they're all a bunch of lawyers, right? I mean, I think 75 or 80% of the Canadian government are lawyers.
Wow.
You know, have a look. Have a look through your Congress and have a look through the Senate and all the rest of it and see how many of them are lawyers. But I'll tell you, the ones that aren't, they're actually committing fraud because they didn't cross the bar. They didn't get the key, the cross, the X.
Well, I'm ready to gain the wisdom and the knowledge and do the fucking. That's why.
Okay, well, it's all there, and I who shall not be named. It is all there. And did they hand you any tickets for your licentiousness, or?
No. Just point out, you got to show it for just, this transaction, that one, or proof of this, and really, when there's 500,000 other things that's listing who I am, it's just, well, the hurdles and hoops and all that stuff, and just stick with it.
Can I give you the allegory of what's going on then?
Yeah.
The allegory of this is quite simple. It's all ramping up because this was not normal before, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So what's happening now is they're trying to make people more aware of being badgered. That's why cops wear badges, why they're badgered for their identification. And people are going to start doing exactly what you're doing. Might take them a little longer, but that's exactly what's occurring. So I see that as a ramp up of our victory and the reverse mirror energy. So take heart.
Yeah, because people need to just, come out with it and do it, and I believe more people are, but
they are.
Man, there's just still a lot of idiots walking around.
Well, yeah, about 99% of the population, or better, and that's not being derogatory. That's just being an observing fact, right?
Yeah.
How many people know that using their name is fraud?
Not very many. I had a conversation with someone the other day about it. It's an older lady, going through a lot of
good luck.
What is her legal stuff? Kind of like, the place where she lives is now being bought by someone else, and they want this information from her, and they want this, and everybody in your household, what do they make? Who are they, and what is this? And I just stopped her there. I said, look, there's nothing on that paper that I see that's a requirement for you to divulge all of that information. It seems to be voluntary, But a lot of people do that. Don't be kidded. They receive things in the mail or from whatever entity, and it's just kind of like a bait being thrown out there to say, here, we need this, and we need you to list all this stuff and whatever, But they never say, or else, or you need, because of, or whatever. And people just do it.
Oh, yeah, well, that's the whole thing. It has to be by consent. It must be by consent. So we have to entrap ourselves. This is how universal honor stays intact with these guys. Mm-hmm. It's such a simple concept. People they're still chewing on their own fucking feet. Yeah. It drives me nuts.
It does.
It's so clear, but no, it's my name, it's mine. Shut your crying up. Cry me a fucking river, will ya?
They get all worried, concerned. What am I going to do?
Dear.
If I don't comply with this, if I don't comply with that, and
Yeah, comply. You want to be a piece of plywood? With ply, look, you're layered. They're sticking you to it. That's what plies are. Plywood is pieces of wood glued together like a bond. It's all there. Just pay attention to the words, and you'll see it. Reply? Why would you reply to something? Sorry, I don't play their game. We have Adam in the call now, by the way. I haven't talked to Adam in the ages. How are you doing, Adam?
Hey, how are you doing, my friend?
Oh, peachy. How are you? Stirring the shit. You know me.
Up to no good, I see, Kate.
Always. Yeah, change of planet. I'm good.
Yeah, excellent. I love the information that you guys are giving. You guys are awesome down there. Or over there, not down there. Because you're only on the east coast of me. Well, east of me.
Yeah, you're in Van, right? Or close to Van?
Yeah, I'm in BC here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that's awesome. You caught any of the latest documents? That actually, I'll tell you what. I'll give you.
Well, you know what? I got to tell you, Kate. You guys totally confuse me. I wish you'd put like one point after the next point. This is how you do it. And then when I see a website, like Peter puts up a website, or you guys put up a website, or somebody else puts up a website, and it's awesome information. But damn, I have a hard time following it all. And
that's
I mean,
why
Adam.
That's why I do.
I'm smart.
That's why I do. Well, see, that's a problem. You are smart. Most intellectuals won't get what I'm talking about because it's too simple. And here's the thing. If you want the answers, I'll give you the answers. It's in 2 essays, 2 very clear essays. The long and short of it, and I who shall not be named. And it's not up to me to put out here's what you do, step 1, here's what you do. I did that shit before. People still wouldn't follow it. And I don't care, because what I found happening, Adam, and I totally get where you're coming from, and there's a reason why I don't, is because even when I did, people still didn't get it. So these are things that you have to bring into yourself to save yourself. I've put the things there. I mean, I who shall not be named is actually a template that you can fire into any courtroom. Just change the names on it. All the names that were defrauded from those connected with me, myself, and the rest connected to me are on there. All you got to do is take those out and put the fraud names that are connected to you and your family or whoever you've had a spiritual contract with. You know, like in terms of everyone, ex-wives, ex-husbands, children, stepchildren. Quote, common law relationships and all the rest of it. Whoever you've had a spiritual contract with, this is where you break it, and you actually help them as well in that process, because it's about nullifying the contract, and it's a spiritual contract. It's not something you see on paper. This is why I've had such a hard time explaining.
Okay, yeah, but
people.
there is.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Kate.
No, go ahead.
Is there not a way? Is there not a way to break that contract on paper? You guys were talking about Postmaster General and breaking the contract at home and stuff like that earlier.
I know. That's a year ago.
Guys,
that's a year ago.
I'm sorry. Okay.
This is why I tell people, if you want to understand what it is I'm talking about, you better be tuned in now. Because I don't deal in 2 weeks ago. I don't even deal in 5 minutes ago. I deal now.
No, I know. No,
you know
I know how fast you can. You're awesome at what you do, and I just have a very hard time keeping up to you because I work 16-hour days. I only get a moment to listen to your shows every once in a while, and I'm so happy to be on yours today.
Well, I'm glad to have you. It's been too long. I totally get what you're saying, and that's the whole part of the system. They want to keep you distracted, so you don't have time to figure this stuff out. But I'm here. I mean, that's what I'm trying to do tonight, is really clarify it. Now, you do understand that, excuse me, the name is not yours, yeah?
Well,
you do have.
According to what I understand, if I may, for 2 seconds.
Okay.
My understanding is that if they give me any kind of letter in all capital letters, that's my nom de guerre, which is my war name, which goes back to 1912 War Tax Act.
Adam,
Act.
That's why I hate dealing with intellectual people. Really, really smart people. Now, I'm going to tell you why. Because what intellectual people, I know, because I am one. I choose not to be. That's the thing, is I put that shit aside. It's simple. You got to think like a child to see this. Who came up with? Let's go back to when you arrived here in the body. Okay, let's go back to a few months before you popped out of mom, shall we?
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do, Adam, is I'm going to walk you right down the trail to show everybody how this works, step by step. You ready? Here's your step. Here's your step by step. This is why I have to take the long walks with people so they can see how it unfolded. You got to see the whole story before you can actually see the ending of it. So let's go back to a few months before you popped out of mom. Now, mom and dad were sitting around talking, and they came up with what they wanted to call you, yeah?
Right.
Okay, so whose name is it at that point?
It would belong to my parents at that moment.
Right, and it never stopped belonging to them because they created it in the ether. They made a spiritual contract of, let's call our son or daughter. This is for everyone. I always speak third party, but I'm going to walk you through it to show how this works. All right, so mom and dad were the ones that created the name. Yes, no?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, my
okay.
mother did.
Well, either or, it doesn't matter. Still, Dad still had to agree with Mom that that's what you were going to be called. So it's a contract. It's an agreement between two spiritual beings on an ether level. Unfortunately for Mom and Dad, they entered into a marriage contract, i.e. through the church or through the state, which are both the same thing, which means when they have a marriage license or a getting married in a church, what they've done is they've acquiesced to church and state. Church and state are one. And what we have to do, the separation of church and state, is getting us out of that, because they're one, the Triple Crown. So what we have now is every decision ever made within the marriage, because it was given up to the state via the license or in the church, every decision that's made is owned by the Crown. So this is how we have to break this contract. It's a spiritual contract. So Mom and Dad decide what the name is going to be, and then they, you pop out of Mom, and they've already started, as soon as they know it's a boy or a girl, they say, well, this is Adam, okay? And everyone says, oh, yes, that's Adam. And as you're growing up, everyone's convincing you that you're Adam. But what happened was Mom and Dad, because everyone else does it, went and, were you born in a hospital or a house?
Hospital.
Okay, so in the hospital, the registration was already done. And all Mom had to do was sign your soul away. There's here. I'm going to read it to you. I'm going to show you how this.
Which I actually talked to my wife about, and told her not to sign the piece of paper until I have a look at the documentation on the piece of paper. She signed it away. She signed my son away.
Oh no! The fact that she was in the hospital already did that. You went into a prison ward, hospital ward, same thing.
Oh yeah.
Let me show you. This is where I come in handy. Okay, let's go to Ward of Admiralty. This was the one that clinched it for me. It's in the Invocation of the Cross. All the definitions are in there, too. It's also on kateofgaia.wordpress.com. You just grab the documents off there. You'll have all the answers you need. Ward of Admiralty, which is... Now, pay attention to the sound here, Adam. This is why I need people to get phonic. Get rid of the spell binding, i.e. how we were taught to say words and see letters and everything else. You've got to lose that and start listening. So when I say...
right, and that's one of the beautiful things about the shows that I did with you earlier, was that you actually taught me not to look at the actual spelling, but the sound of the word. Yep. And I've over the last little while, I've been sitting there going, oh, yeah, okay, that's so interesting. Apologies for interrupting.
No, that's okay. That's how you spot the allegories, and this is where we're at now. Now, if I said the word semen to you, what did I say to you? What was your first reaction?
Well, you would be talking, two, first off, seamen as far as guys that are on the sea, and semen, the sperm that comes
right.
From
okay,
male
but it's the same sound, yeah? So by assumption or presumption, if I was, say, a judge, I would assume what? Whatever the fuck I wanted. Because you don't know any better. You're spellbound. Okay? This is how it works. This is how the assumption and presumption, and of course they have to prove the intent. That's why they need to find intent so that they can remove assumption and presumption, and you get to hang yourself while you do it. So here we go. Here's Ward of Admiralty. Now pay attention.
I want to hear this. I want to hear it.
Okay. A seaman, so called because of the legal view that a seaman in contractual matters should be treated as a beneficiary and the other contracting party as a fiduciary, because of the perceived inequitability of their bargaining positions. And most people go, well, what the hell does that mean? Well, let me tell you. Because once you understand that seaman is dad, it's spelled out as in someone on a boat, right? This is why it's called Admiralty Law, all right? That's why all these terms work back and forth. It's beautiful when you see this matrix. It's stunning. It's so beautiful. Anyway, a seaman, so that's dad. So called because of the legal view that a seaman or dad in contract matters should be treated as a beneficiary, and the other contracting party is fiduciary. Mom has to be the fiduciary. She's the one that built you. Dad just popped in, hopefully it was longer than 10, 15 minutes, and gave Mom at least a good time for the 9 months of putting up with, growing you. That's why there's a perceived inequitability of their bargaining positions. So Dad is always the beneficiary of the child. Mom is a fiduciary. She's built the trust in legal view. Okay? Dad as the beneficiary And because the surname is owned, this is all about claiming the divine feminine essence. So this is getting into some pretty heady stuff. But bottom line is this. That's why they view benefits. Because when Dad gives up that right, that's the beneficiary. So that's where benefits comes from. It's beneficiary or benefits. Okay? Same word. Now,
Kate,
go ahead.
Can I ask you a question here?
You just
because the thing is, what I'm saying here, you're talking about the semen, and because what they used to do way back in the day, they used to go, I'm going to get 50,000 pounds of this fish. You're going to pay me for this. And this is no different than the semen of the man of the earth that is producing a child saying, I'm going to produce you this.
Okay.
So it's
now hang on, Adam. You're getting technical here. You don't need to. What this is the showing of the allegorical mimic of the physical universe from the spiritual, and why they had to capture our spiritual essence. That's the part that people don't think about too often. Well, they do when they go to church, but it's totally warped. I'm talking about spiritual universal contracts here under divine cosmic law, universal law. So I wanted to see how they papered over the universal law, and how they gave man-made laws the power of universal law once we consent to it. So this is how they've enslaved our mind, body, and soul. So look at the allegory. Doesn't mean this. If you read this literally, it sounds like a legal jargon. But let's look at the allegory of mom and dad giving up, the contract of marriage between mom and dad. So let's look at it. Let's listen to it with that in mind. A seaman, so called because of the legal view that a seaman in contractual matters should be treated as a beneficiary, and the other contracting party as a fiduciary because of the perceived inequitability of their bargaining positions. Mom has a greater claim because she's the one that actually grew the baby. So there's a perceived inequitability. Yet the contract was made by both that they wanted to have a child. And what does Dad always say? Well, or Mom will say, I gave my husband a son or a daughter, right? That's what a beneficiary is. They get the gift. So in order to balance it out, because without Dad in the equation, the trust would never have been started anyway. However, the women can, by the way, self-procreate. That's been turned off. We're all supposed to be able to do that. But here's the thing. So we got the basic allegory here of how a legal bullshit contracting thing is actually an ethereal universal contract spiritually. This is what I've been trying to expose all along.
Everything is a contract.
Everything. Here it's all about City of London lawyer. Here it's all about contract. But don't get confused. Don't think of paper. Right? As above, so below. So if we deal a contract on paper here, there is a contract intent. Now I'm going to show you when you give a signature, and I'm going to keep walking up this trail for you to show you how the name isn't yours and how you've been committing fraud and how your mom and dad aided and abetted you into it. Okay? So what happens here now? Where was I going? Because I just went right down the whole list. All right. Back it up. Let's get
contract. Kate. I love your information. You always sit there and make me think for like 3 weeks later, 5 weeks, even 2 months, and I'm sitting there trying to research this stuff, and I'm going, I'm pulling my hair out, and I don't even have any hair left.
Adam, what I research.
Keep going, my friend.
What I research, you cannot find in a book, because I trust me and my intuitive. Most people can't do that. That's what I'm trying to get people to start doing. Start trusting yourself.
You also do go through the legal aspects of how this works and the wording and so on and so forth.
Well, the mirror's
more
there.
Important.
I can show.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, most people don't understand this legality aspects of wording, and here you are exposing it, and I'm interrupting you again.
That's okay. No worries. No apologies allowed on this show. We just kind of go with the flow here. What I'm showing you is Medusa's face in the shield, the mirror. You look at Medusa, what happens? You get turned to stone. So what did Perseus have to do? He had to look at her reflection. Hi, I'm Perseus. I got smart. I'm not taking Medusa on face on because I get turned to stone. The allegory there is if you're playing in their legal fiction realms, thinking you can outwit them and everything else, you're caught in the web, and you're in complete dishonor.
Yeah,
so
that's so true.
Yeah, here's the step-by-step for you. All right, so we understand that Mom and Dad went into a contract, Ward of Admiralty. That's why we're all considered wards of the state, all right? Went into a contract, and what happens is, I was born in a house, so my mom and dad actually had to go down to the Belfast Registry Office to register the name that they gave me. But what happened was, 3 days after they gave me the name that was mine, 3 days, they went to the registry office and registered the name, thus rendering it as a gift. Let me tell you what gift is in Black's Law. They gifted the state, the crown and state, the name. Now let me just E-F-G, too far H. And I'm glad you guys, this is what we need to really get into here, because this is the nitty fucking gritty.
No, I'm in it.
Okay? All right, so let me go to gifts here. Gift. Look at this. Gamete. That sounds awful lot like part of the zygote process. Here it is. Gift, abbreviation. Gamete intrafallopian transfer. See the allegory?
Yes.
The voluntary transfer of property to another without compensation. A thing so transferred is a gift. And there it is. Gamete intrafallopian transfer. Baby. Fuck's sakes, guys. Pay attention to the allegories. You'll miss it otherwise. That's how I found it.
Take this baby and do what you want with it.
Pretty much. But what happens with the gift is, this is why the register was so critical. The register. Regis to rule, stir, divine feminine, creative, spiritual essence. Your creative divine feminine. Your half of your spirit, the part of you that can create. They want to claim them. And they don't want to steal it because that's against universal law. That's a trespass and free will choice. No, what they want you to do is be really stupid and give it to them. What I've done is said, no, okay. There was an intent to deceive and defraud. The fact that the registry office was built says so. If there was no intent to defraud me, you would never have built the building. Got it? And it's not a building. That's something, that's a verb. It's a built. All right? We don't live in buildings, okay? We live in builts. I don't know about you, but when I'm building something, it's actually not made yet. All right, so there.
Well,
so what happens is
building it. It's done. It's built now.
Right. So now what we're doing is, now we're at the registry office. Mom and Dad have said, Adam, and they put your name down and they register the name, and they give you a receipt called a birth certificate, which is it's monetary paper. At the same time, that's the long form. At the same time, they create a short form. That's the where they take Mom and Dad's name off it because you have surrendered to church and state. So Mom and Dad get a copy that they see their names on it, and it looks all real and official, and it's all boxed, so it's not even on the page.
There's no numbers in there.
Okay, and it's under seal, too, and that's another very, very special word. I'll look that one up for you. So what happens now is Mom and Dad have willfully consent given a gift or the gamete intrafallopian transfer to the crown and state. They gave you up, mind, body, and soul. And they go away not knowing that they've done this. They have not a clue because their name was given up as well. So they're actually slaves, so there's not a whole lot that can be done at this point. You have to be the one to save you, and I'm going to show you how to do this. So what happens now, you got to call these bastards on their bluff, and it's easy to do. So what happens now is Mom and Dad come back with the birth certificate, and the short gets created a bit later, whatever. The birth certificate is a death certificate too. It has to be both. I was born June 15th and was, illegally executed June 18th, 1964. So what happens now is Mom and Dad spent all this time as you're growing up calling you, Adam, supper time, Adam, time to get up for school. And you are absolutely convinced that that's your name that Mom and Dad gave you. But Mom and Dad didn't realize that they'd actually given you away. They don't know. So what's happening here is now Mom and Dad, because they gave the name away, and of course it gets copyrighted, what happens with a copyright? Look, copy the spirit, right hemisphere, got it? With a copyright, it'd be like me writing checks on your account. How would you like me? Or would you think I was a criminal? Right. So Mom and Dad are aiding and abetting you into committing fraud. The system isn't. They're free and clear. Universal law has them free and clear. They're in full honor. And because of Mom and Dad's ignorance and our own, we got to take the brunt of this, guys. Okay?
Yeah, because when you're a little toddler, they put my ass in a playpen.
Right.
So I'm in the pen already.
Exactly. Playpen. They call it playpen for a reason, right? You know? And it's got bars and everything. It's great. Get you used.
It's great. Yeah, it's fun.
The allegory's there, right? So what happens now is you have a, quote, a document given to you by Mom and Dad that was given to them, the only document you ever get from the government without asking. They just give it to you. You don't have to ask for birth certificate. They give it to you because they want you to commit crime and fraud. So Mom and Dad gives you the birth certificate, and how do you go about getting your first identification? You have to get a birth certificate. You know, you want to get a passport. Well, the first thing they asked for my ex for the girls when I had to get their passports, I just ran them system to make it easier. I went after the emergency passport on my terms, and I got it. So that's another story for another show. I've already talked about that dozens of times. But the bottom line here is this. We are, because we use a name that was given to the Crown without copyright permission, are actually, in fact, committing fraud. And when we go and make a contract with someone else, we're actually aiding and abetting in helping them to commit fraud too. So every contract you've ever entered into in the legal system, in the paper world that we live in, every freaking one of them is void, is a fraudulent contract. That's why you cannot own anything. You cannot. The system is swindled everyone to that degree. Because everything that you ever got in your life, you used money, and that's not yours to use either. That's government paper. That's government script, and you're committing fraud using it. That's why I have such disdain for money at all. What was I coming in to grab? I wanted to grab something to share with you guys. Oh, good luck trying to find it. I got all my stuff packed, so let me see.
Oh, isn't most contract, Kate, kind of like there's always a clause or something to get out of one?
Yeah, it's called the Clausula Rebus Sextantibus.
Oh, Lord.
That's the invocation of the cross. That's the escape. That's the treaty escape clause. You guys should actually read my shit. You might actually get something from it.
I have all your documents. I say that.
Yeah. Well, if anyone ever wants to go over these things, because all it's going to take is for a few people to start getting this, and then I'm multiplying myself through others, and then they're multiplying themselves through others, et cetera, on down the line. But here's what it says right on my document here. The only document that was ever given to my mom and dad, called the birth certificate. And if you notice, there is all of the names and everything else that are in it are all boxed, so they're not even on the page. Okay, but it says right at the bottom. Excuse me. Caution. Well, I'll read the warning. It's below the caution, right? They're saying caution. You know, they're not saying warning, right? It's not quite as abrupt, but they're still telling you, careful. Don't be careful what you're doing here. They tell you. So it says on the bottom, warning: a certificate is not evidence of identity. So what the hell is it then? You can't use it for ID, but you can't get ID without it. So that should be enough proof to you to say, well, okay, they have to get me to willfully use this to get identification, and I'm committing fraud, of course. And then when I get licenses and everything else, now you heard the first part where I'm being licentious, I'm being immoral, I'm debauching, I'm bawdy, I'm all the rest of these things, right? And it says right above it, it says caution. There are offenses relating to falsifying or altering a certificate and using or possessing a false certificate. Crown copyright. Is a driver's license a false certificate? Of course it is. Same with a mortgage. Same with a loan. Same with the car ownership. That's why you can't own anything. Somebody asked you, have you got the ownership for the vehicle? Says, well, the state owns it. Why would I carry that? That's your information.
The registration they asked for.
Yeah, they want the registration. See, there's the magic word, register. Got it. They want to take it all, and it's quite a swindle. But we've uncovered it. So it's really a matter of all people have to do is understand the one thing that I was out to find that had all of humanity in common with each other, regardless of race, creed, color, religion, sex, whatever. It doesn't matter. It had to be something that they carried from cradle to grave. It had to be something that they would think it was theirs, yet it wasn't. And it had to be something they'd fight to the death for to protect and defend. And the only thing that fit that bill was the name. We all have a name. It was given to us and given away, of course. That's why they call it a given name. It was given away. The clues are there if you can see them. So anything that you go out to get in terms of system documents, any identification whatsoever, you are in fact committing fraud. So what I've done in the I Who Shall Not Be Named is reverse the tables, turn the tables on them. I said to everybody, we're going to have to reverse out of here, reverse. Re, the light of God, you, ver, from verily meaning truth, and say, Latin for himself, herself, itself, the Holy Trinity of the self, you. The magnetic electric trinity of the one. That's where the three becomes one. We got to get past the duality. We got to get into the triality. We got to get into the Trinity, and that's what we all are.
I've read it, and I'm going to read it again, and then I'm going to read it again.
Just read it until you get it.
I'm going to read it until it's just almost like I know it by heart.
Well, the long and short of it is the best explanation I could come up with to keep it as simple as I can, yet satiate those that have an intellectual twist. Hey, listen, I'm an intellectual. I know how hard it is to stop that and stop analyzing. I know, I was there. I said,
they're all shooting the fireworks off tomorrow, and they're all doing this on Independence Day. I don't feel very fucking independent.
Well, that's the joke of it, right? That is the joke, because all the 4th of July is the big corporate party that the USA corporation holds every year for its employees, also known as citizens. Just like yesterday or 2 days ago with Canada Day, where all of the Canadian corporate employees, aka citizens, had a party thrown for them by the Corporation of Canada, which is also owned by the United States Corporation.
I love the way you said that, Kate.
What's
Canada Day.
Mm-hmm.
I said I love the way you said that. Canada Day.
Well, no, just Canada Day. Yeah, I just gave up on the Canaan or the Cain and Abel, right? Canada.
Right.
I don't have any rules when it comes to phonics. I look at any letter and it sounds whatever way I want to say it. It's like the word, I love this one, physical. Okay, well, Y makes an I sound. I makes an I sound, and of course the sound of the end of it doesn't sound much like cal. We don't say, let's get physical, right? No, we sing let's get physical. It's all about the phonics. So let's switch it up a little bit. Let's go physical. Or, try this one. Phi-cycle. Phi being the sacred geometric creation, 1.618. Right? Sacred creation itself. Phi, the phi ratio. That's the golden mean. And then we have psi, which is the spirit. Greek letter, 23rd letter in the Greek. 21st letter is phi. 777, God. Okay? 21. Blackjack, anybody? Okay. And, of course, cull, harvest. So if you're stuck in the physical, you were stuck in the phi cycle, or you're being recycled constantly, right? So what is happening there is your actual pure energy of spirit is being harvested, and you're doing it of your own free will and consent. And there is no one that can stop doing it but you. This is why I've lived in a virtual hell for the last year and a half, 2 years. Actually longer than that, because I was getting hassled since 2010. So it's been a long time, and they came at me hardcore. All right, so what I'm trying to do is, if people are awake enough and can grasp this information, I'm trying to help set them free. If that's their choice, either way it doesn't matter. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing anyway until the last breath. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not here to save anybody but me. And in doing so, if but one shall awaken, all awaken.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're sharing all this information. You're bringing this to all of the people around.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I go right back to my very first question, and I'm an intellectual, but that stupid dummy that is sitting there listening to this broadcast is going, well, how the hell do I get myself free from the system?
First thing you got to do
is there a way of doing this, or did we just drop our ID and say we're going to be freemen?
No, God, no. Freemen or gimme. Sovereigns, freemen, forget that. They're all a bunch of morons. I was there once. I know. I was a moron, too. I just said, I'm not going to be a moron anymore.
Okay, so how is it that we're going to be able to do this? Because personally, I'd love to be free of the system.
Okay, well,
I know what I was bought into.
Adam, what we need to do is start picking away at it by planting seeds. You know what happens when seeds get thrown everywhere? Things grow everywhere. So here's what I suggest to people to do. If you really, really want to get busy with this, I who shall not be named, just take that and make it your own. Pull my name, the names that I put in there out of there, and put your own in. You get a parking ticket, then just print up a copy of that, red box it if you want. I was going to read up seal for you guys.
Yeah.
All right, because seal is actually two words, say all. Come sail away, that kind of shit. Say, Latin, himself, herself, itself, all. Now I'm going to tell you what a seal is, and it's very important. And I'm going to go through what a signature is, because these are all very basic things that people need to know. The minute you stop signing your signature or signing your signature, you kill it dead, because here, I'll do the signature first, then we'll do the seal. All right, because it all falls into place. Do you, when you say signed anything, did you just sign it without even thinking about what you were signing, or did you have an idea of what you were signing?
10 to 1 always, depending on where I am.
Well, generally,
how fast I have to be. Generally, I just sign. I just sign.
Right, but you're also signing. I mean, if you're signing a mortgage or a visa slip, or signing your name to a rental agreement or whatever, you have a pretty good idea of why you're signing that, yeah?
Right.
Okay, that's all I'm getting at.
For the most part, yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's a common understanding. It's all duped, but it's a common understanding that we all have when we sign for something, right? And I'm going to tell you how powerful this is and why people need to stop doing this shit. This is how we kill the system. Just stop signing shit. Right now, if everybody stops signing, the system collapses tomorrow, like now. Here's why it's a contract of a spiritual nature. Before you sign something, you had to have had it in your head that you were going to. And you had intent to sign something, whether you cared how fast you had to do it or what you read or not. It doesn't matter. When you pick up a pen and take that intent or that thought and you put it into action, by your actions you are known. So by physically signing something, see the phi-side call, there it is again. All right, by signing something, what you've said is, I've already made a spiritual agreement that I'm okay with all of this contract. Whether you read it or not, you're saying it's all good, because when you sign it, it's done. You've put your intent on paper. Do you see how powerful it is now?
Even if it's not even legible, it's kind of like I signed something today, and it looked like a 5-year-old couldn't even make it. And I was like, "Is it okay?"
Yeah,
she's like, "Oh yeah, that's fine."
Yeah, it doesn't matter as long as I get your intent, right? Now here's the other side of it too.
That's the old way they just do the Indians. They say just do an X on the box.
It's all they want is the intent, right?
There was something I heard. Through the last year. If we put a box around the box, what is that in?
Well, they got double boxes on the top and bottom of this. Don't get technical on this stuff. I've been there. I don't care. It's about changing the intent. I'm trying to get people out of the physical bullshit. You know, if you stand on your head, spin 3 times and fart twice, kick off your shoes and spit nickels, this will happen, is how I look at the physical, okay?
That's a good one.
It's all a fact.
That's why I always loved you. Your allegories and your information is absolutely amazing.
Well, it's downloaded. It's not me. This is coming from all of us, okay? So that's all I'm trying to do. I'm just a messenger. So let's go to, actually, rescue syndrome. It was a page it was open at, so let's have a look at it. We talked about this for a while. A situation in which a child in custody battle expresses a preference for the parent perceived by the child to be the weaker of the two, in the belief that the parent needs the child, right? I'm gonna look at that one. Lollipop syndrome. Indeed. Okay, so let's go to signature. All right, here's what a signature is. A person's name or mark written by that person or at the person's direction. So the intent has to be there. Also termed sign manual. Commercial law. Any name, mark, or writing used with the intention of authenticating a document. A, which is AU, gold. T-H-E is theos, God. N, mine. I, ka, spirit. And the act of. I can tell you what every word means, every letter, and why it's so powerful. And we just do stuff willy-nilly. It's best just to shut up and stop signing stuff. So let's go over to, what was the other one? Oh, I want to do signet in here. Okay, let's do signum first, okay? Signum, from Latin, Roman law, a sign or a seal. Then we're going to go to seal. Signum, on written documents, a seal or a stamp put on to close a document in order to make its contents inaccessible to unauthorized persons and protect against forgery. Or at the end of it, after the written text. In the latter case, the seal, without or with a signature, indicated that the sealer recognized the written declaration as his. Signum is also the seal of a witness who was present at the making of a document. Okay? That's why my tag is Cygnus. Cygnus trumps it, right? Cygnus, the divine feminine creative essence, the swan. All right? That's why signet is used here. They spell it differently. They don't use a C-Y-G-N part anymore. They use an S instead. And by the way, the ancient S was actually an F form. Look at the old documents. You'll see it. Okay, so signet is this. In civil law, it's an elaborate hand-drawn symbol, usually incorporating a cross and the notary's initials, formally placed at the base of notarial instruments. Sounds almost like notorious, doesn't it? Notarial? Notorious? Yeah. Instruments later replaced by a seal. Now, here's a critical one, Scots law. Anytime I see Scots law, the radars go off. A seal used to authenticate summonses in civil matters before the court of session. Originally, this was the monarch's personal seal, or the writer to the signet. Notice that. Originally, this was the monarch's personal seal. So what's that tell you that you are every time you sign something? You're signing as king or queen. So where was I going to go to next? I was going to... seal. Let's go to seal. Are we learning stuff tonight?
Well, actually, this is interesting because what I have to ask you is if I have a seal, like a family seal, instead of doing my signature and I just put a stamp on there, would that be any different?
Oh, it depends. Is there a name on it?
It would be in Latin, of course.
Well,
it would be a family seal.
Okay, well, yeah, I'm just talking if the seal you have, is it using the family name?
Well, yeah, it would be like back to the 1400 kind of family seal, and I just turned around and put that in wax.
It won't matter because what you're dealing with family names is now you run into the problem of prima nocte, which is first night. And this is one of the reasons why the barons and lords like to shag all the local women on the first night so that their bloodlines were intermingled so that everyone would never know what bloodline they're from. Yeah. Lots of bastards, you know what I'm saying?
Bastards.
Yeah, that's why they did that.
I want to get one of those stamps that says, like the stamp you put in the ink and you stamp down on the paper, and it says denied. I mean, whenever I get a fucking bill from now on from anybody in the mail, I'm just going to stamp it, send it back to them.
Denied. Yep. Just have fun with it. But here's what Adam was getting at. What can we do, Kate? What can we do? Well, here's what we can do. We need to start changing our intent first. You got to get out of the physical and start trusting yourself for a change. You can run in circles. I know I did. You can run in circles for a long time trying to solve stuff in the physical. That's not where things get fixed here. The physical is the effect. And we the creators, the real creators are an effect to our own friggin' creation because someone took it over. Part of our consciousness took part of it over. All right? So what we need to do is, in order to be cause, we must return to our inner spirituality. We must find out who we are, to know thyself. So the only difference in the path that I've walked is I made it very critical. The most important thing in my universe was to know who I was. And the reason why I can do this is because I got a pretty good idea now who I am. I know who I am. I know why I'm here. I know what I'm supposed to be doing. And I also trust myself more and more and more every day. Those seeds of doubt, those doubt fires, the doubt of the Promethean fire within, they're gone.
Yeah, I would agree with that. You know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
I got a pretty good idea. There's still parts. I mean, listen, we got some... What's that?
Do you mind if I defer the conversation to another little bit of other direction here?
Yeah, but I just want to make sure...
You may be able to actually give me some support on this.
Okay, well, before we go there, I just want to... You understand how the name isn't yours, yes?
Yes.
Okay, you understand how you are the one that's actually committing the fraud, thus in dishonor. So if you ever walk into a courtroom, they already have you as a criminal.
Right, of course.
Now
you're not proven guilty. You are guilty the second you walk in.
They call the name, you're done, right? If you say, that's me. With me, it's not here about that matter. Oh, that's what I said that day, and the judge bowed. Oh, I'm here about that matter. I didn't claim to be the name, so I could be somebody representing for someone else, you see. So see what they have to assume? You can use the power of assumption and presumption for your benefit instead of being sucked into it every time. And I'm telling people not to even worry about this because here's the bottom line. Once you understand who you are, that the name is not yours, if you can quit your crying and bed, oh, they screwed me, shut up.
I guess once you know it, you can just do the reflecting back.
Now you mirror it. It is not your name until you do this. And once you do this, once you expose the fraud with your own intent within, this is where it starts changing the ether. And this world shifts. So you need to know how powerful you are. And that's the problem.
You have that right. That's beautiful.
You don't have the you don't have the right. You are the right.
That's right.
The R-I-T. You're the ritual.
I apologize for my wording.
No,
you always... It slapped me every time I try to say something.
Now, I don't mean to...
The perfection in words of what you are saying, people really need to understand, and I think that's more important.
Well, that's exactly why I love talking to you, because this happened the other night with Randy. He came in with these beautiful questions, and this is, Adam, this is exactly the way I love to flow these shows, because I can show it in real time. I'm just showing people how to observe. This has nothing to do with you. At all. At all.
No, I'm only asking the questions for myself, but this has everything to do with everybody else around us and every other individual that's listening. And you are, personally, I would think you're a great teacher to have the ability to understand the way of the words and the worrying words and what they are doing to us. And this is very important,
Well, this is
I go back 100%, Kate. As much as we fight and argue all the time, but you're just such an awesome woman.
Well, that's just your mirror talking. You see, all I've ever tried to do with people is show them how beautiful they are, and I want to scrape that shit called ego away, because that's the one thing. That's the intellect. We have it. I do. We all do. And when I was talking to Alexis today, it's not a matter of not having an ego. As soon as somebody says, I don't have an ego, I said, yeah, okay, that's your ego talking. No, I have one for sure. I keep mine on a very short leash, and I know where it is, and I know when to use it, and I only bring it out of the cage when I feel it needs fresh meat. That's it.
You gotta step outside the box.
Yeah, I step outside the box.
Next one's up for the kill.
Then I let, well, there's a few shows back there that, you can see where I've let Fido, the three-headed Cerebus, loose, feed, go. And I will meet ego with ego. The difference is this. I'm using it as a tool. I'm not being it. I'm using it as I will push buttons on egos just to make them explode, just to show where they are.
Absolutely, and that's what I love doing, especially and right now I'm dealing with this guy down in Australia. And he thinks he's Occupy movement, I guess, that is king of the world, NSA, everybody knows him, and so on and so forth. And I'm asking him, what is he doing? What's going on? And all he can do is troll and be a shill to me. Yeah. And he has no answer. He sends me to a link that doesn't have any answers. And I mean, I'm sitting there going, well, I want to discuss this with you. I want to have more information. I want to be able to expose this because truth is more important than a bunch of bullshit. And here I am, and he tells me to go screw myself, and I'm kind enough. I continue to talk with him.
Good. Here's the other piece of advice I love to hand out. Don't get caught up in all this nonsense of false flags, NSA, chemtrails, all the rest of the distractions, because that's all they are. They got you looking outside into the illusion. You need to go inside to see this game. That's where hey, if you think what I'm offering is worthwhile, go ahead, ask me where to get it. Do you think I researched this?
Well, we already know you researched it, my friend.
I haven't.
You've been through legal systems. You've been through everything, and I know you personally, like as far as knowing you personally.
No, we've talked many times.
Yeah.
The difference is now.
I totally support everything you're doing.
I don't research anything anymore. I follow my intuitive instinct, and I think there's more than one or two people can attest to what goes on these shows every night, with head down, eyes closed, download, and I don't know what's going to come out of my face. I just go. Same thing that happened when I write songs, and this thing that happened in the Judge Bows to Sovereign video. I just turned my brain off and just went up there and said, "Okay, universe, speak. It's all yours." And in 2 minutes and 2 minutes and 34 seconds later, every answer that was ever needed in this fucking game is right there if you can see it. And that's all I'm trying to do. Go ahead, Ninja. Good to hear you. Woohoo!
Yeah, hi, Adam. This guy you were just talking about in Australia, did you say?
Yeah,
Why don't you, hello, just a minute. Why don't you just say his name on the air? Tell us who he is, so we can avoid him in future.
Lawrence Colin.
Say again?
Lawrence Colin.
Lawrence Colin. Yeah, it sounds like he's got some... Colin.
Sorry, Laurence, and then capital COGHLAN. Colin.
Well, he pronounced it colon, okay.
Colon, yeah, that's about right.
That sounds right to me.
Yeah.
Actually,
that's all I wanted you to do was to name him.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, well, you know what? Anybody that's in any kind of movement or whatever, and I know because I just sent him the link, and he's sitting there telling me I'm a wanker and I'm this and I'm that and so on and so forth, and my intellect is, and I'm a fuckwit and.
Nice.
What's the movement?
Yeah, it's a movement.
And if he's actually, part of the real process of truth, then he would stand up and say, "Yeah, let's talk." Because my words are, look at your words, what you're sending me, and I'm looking at you as approachable and being respectful, and you're not being, and he says, "Oh, I'll only talk to respectful, honored people," but if he looks at his words and my words, well, he already sent off an email or whatever off to the guy that runs the libertybeacon.com and complained that I'm not going to support you guys. And Roger turned around and said, well, you never contributed it, and you're sending me an email that already I know because Adam sends me everything, that any communication I have, because I never lie. And it's just that simple. And it's unfortunate somebody that is supposed to be of an Occupy movement down in Australia that is supposed to be great and wonderful, and I ask him only for an interview, and all I get is like a shill and a troll. And this just goes to show you the insanity of what's going on out there, because it's not just one person. There's so many out there.
Right, so the best thing to do when you come across them is to name them and then forget about them. Moving on.
Oh, well, I guess he's just been named. So
that's why I asked you to do it.
I won't put them up. We don't put people like that up on the website. I do other websites, and we put pedophiles up on the websites. And that would be Riptide, RIPTIDE.IN. And currently we have 2 in jail, 3 that have been fired this month, and a load of them under investigation. And if you ever go up on that website, I tell you, if you're looking for a little child anywhere on the internet, we're going to find you. We're going to expose you. You're going to be fired. Your life is going to be ruined, and it's your problem. And that's just the way I stand, and I stand by my word.
Yeah, it's just about bringing things into the light. But I'm going to reiterate what Ninja just said there. Stop getting caught in the distractions, because what's going to happen there is your intent is going to be dispersed. The deceivers are everywhere. You basically lost me at Occupy movement. They're a bunch of idiots.
Yeah, you don't do that too.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
You guys knew without knowing.
Yeah, they're belligerents. Okay, they're still fighting.
Absolutely. I'm sorry, Kate. It wasn't my intention. But
okay.
There is a new operation on the internet. It's called Operation Riptide. And
that's different.
This team goes in and they find people that are willing to give their private identifying information while they're trying to pick up 10 and 11 and 12-year-old boys and girls on the internet. And we identify them, we track them down, and we put that information up. And if you go to protection.thelibertybeacon.com, that's the newest list of what I'm dealing with. And I have, as much as I do not like the police, as much as I do not like the control systems, I hate pedophiles more, and I'm willing to work with them on exposing everyone that I can find on the internet.
If every cop knew exactly what crime they were committing by their very oaths, if they actually knew what was really going on, there would be a different sense of peace on this planet. Unfortunately, yes, there's the catch-22, damned if you do and damned if you don't. See, here's the problem with the information that I'm sharing, and this is how precarious the system hangs by it's the thread that's breaking, is this information, if you really know how to use it in their system, you can get away with, they've been doing it for a long time, you get away with literal murder.
That's true. Yeah.
That's why, for me, the game had to be to take the whole house of cards down, all of it. Because while a system can be manipulated with truth, it is garbage. And it has been turned into such a load of garbage that people, knowing what I do, can literally get away with whatever they want. What I want people to do is start planting the seeds within the police stations of what the name's all about, of why they need to Unfortunately, pretty much every cop I've come into contact with is as corrupt as the day is fucking long. So I have zero love for criminals, and that's all they are to me. They're not cops.
Yeah. They're probably about 95% running. That's my opinion on it.
You know, so and again, they're only hiring jarheads, low IQers, good fetchers. Go fetch, okay, boss. You know, those types. And give them a gun and taser and the power of God with a sensation. And, of course, you're going to have people getting tased and killed. All you got to do is Google cop crime on the Internet, and you'll find hundreds of thousands of pages. That's supposed to be the ones looking after the law?
Protect and serve.
You know? And I'll tell you, none of these jarheads... Yeah, go ahead.
And, Kate, this is one of the things that I have a major problem with in dealing with some of these morons that are behind a badge that think they own and rule the world that I walk in.
Can I scare you a little?
Dealing with them.
You're in BC, right?
Pardon?
You're in BC?
Yeah, I'm in BC.
Yeah, you know the RCMP, right? You're probably familiar with them.
The RCMP.
Yeah. Do you know how many pedophiles are in the RCMP? They love this distraction.
Oh my God! Do you realize? I mean, I got to say that. I'll say this on air with you guys.
Please.
At 11 and 13 years old, I was in a pedophile network in Vancouver, British Columbia, which included judges, police, teachers, politicians, from the MLAs to the members of parliament in my country, in Canada. I'm 43 now. I will not allow that to happen in my country ever again.
Well, it's happening right now, buddy, and this is what I'm after. I'm after the pedos.
We can only do so much.
No, sorry, I don't live in limitation land.
Hey,
Adam, no, I'm going to stop you right there because I do not allow defeatism. Sorry, you're God. Get over it. There is everything within your power. Take Mrs. Doubtfire, kick her ass out. You can take care of your own kids. You can take care of your own universe. You don't need Mrs. Doubtfire there. All right? So this is what I'm really trying to drive home with people. You need to really get to the notion that you got to trust yourself. Oh, what I was going to say earlier, just to go off topic a little bit, regarding tarot, it had been mentioned, and I've been thinking about it for a while. I may do one night a week where I'll do tarot reads for people on air. Because I do get requests for it. I just don't have time during the day to do it.
Hey, you want to do your shout-outs?
Oh, yeah, I better, actually. It's 10-2. Thank you. Big shout-out to criticalmassradio.co.uk. Paul Giovanni, Lisa, and the crew at Critical Mass. Thank you so much for providing this platform that we can sit around this table every single night of the week and hammer this stuff home, where we're not taking shit anymore. And without Critical Mass Radio, guys, we don't have this platform. So if there's anything you can do, please help.
Exactly.
It's fully non-profit. I know the people, and it's I think what we talked about before, it takes about £300 or about $400 and something every month to keep both platforms going. There's two platforms here running, remember. So that's between $3,000 and $5,000 a year to keep these platforms up. Blog Talk, that's prime time, baby. That's what it costs. Just letting you know. So that's what Paul is dealing with every month. And there's nothing I'd love more than for him to get alleviated of that pressure every month. And seriously, say it's $400. If there's 400 people tossed $1 in every month, or 400 people tossed $12 in, that's the year dealt with.
Yeah.
Just like that. 400 people, and I got typically anywhere from 12 to 30,000 people tuned in every single night. So if you can, great. And again, this is not about guilt, and I don't play in the RC Cola guilt thing, okay? This is a reality. If you can help, great. And if you can't, don't worry about it. Get your intent into this. This is most important, is to get your intent into it. And the other, even more important, is get the word out to everybody. Fire it off, the links off in an email.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you, they'll show up here, they'll hang out. If they can handle the truth, they'll hang out.
Well said.
You know. Oh, here we got. Looks like. This is Stola. Oh, here. Let me just open that up. But you're doing the right things, Adam. So, and don't be shy with me. If there's things that I don't have a problem walking people one-on-one through this until they get it, because what happens then is there is the true copyright, right? There is the original recreating itself again in the mirror. So I spent time with Alexis today because I know she gets it, and she was right on the edge of just seeing it, and she's got it now. And I'm going to be working with her, and I've also want to bring Patty Woods in as well. There's another contact you need to have as well, Adam. So this is about gathering everyone together. This is why this table is here. It is perfectly level. All are equal. No pedestals allowed. And we just simply ask, keep your egos in check. We all have them. And if you don't, I promise you I'll bring out the chainsaw. That's how it works.
Wonderful. Well, it's been such a pleasure to be part of your show today, Kate.
Oh, we're rolling it. We get another hour. We get another hour here.
I don't know who your other guests are, but thanks for allowing me to speak.
No, thank you, Adam.
Everyone's guest here, bud. Me too. We're all guests at the table. I don't bring outside people in much anymore. I mean, Tobias Lars and maybe a couple others, because they're of the same let's sit at the table and talk mentality. There's no egos and attitudes and opinions. It's just what we're trying to do is work together to, here's this idea, what do you think? And, and still I deal with people that, definitely not in the shows, but that are still not quite getting it. And, I was out on the road there a couple of days ago and bumped into some people. And still, doesn't matter what I say, they're still clinging to names. They're still clinging to the illusion. And until you can let go of the illusion, you're done. You're in the web, and they own you. They own you lock, stock, and barrel, mind, body, soul. Just like that, And I know for a fact, I know this for a fact, I'm one of extremely few people on this planet that is in this particular stand right now. Completely and absolutely vulnerable to the physical universe. No name, no bank accounts, no ID, nothing. You should try living like that.
Yeah, it's not easy, I would imagine.
It's not. But I'm still doing it. Oh, and then get on the air 7 nights a week and talk about it. And keep your ego in check while you're at it.
Beautiful.
We're going to roll into the overtime here, guys, so I'm going to do a quick shout-out to everybody. Those that are listening, and if you want to listen in on the board, please, and, of course, you can join in. Everyone's welcome here. We don't have guests. We have our panel, which is whoever shows up. And that's how we work this. That's why it's equal, right? Everyone's an equal knight at this table. King Arthur doesn't live here either. There is no king. We're all equal. So if you want to call in, area code 661-467-2401. And, of course, you can refresh the page on your computer that you're listening to it and hit the Skype button, and it will reroute you to the board, and you continue listening into the rollover from, what would it be, 9 until 10 o'clock, or whatever. We have a maximum of an hour past the normal air time. So there you go. That's how we roll, buddy.
Thanks. Love you.
Love you too. Are you taking off?
No. I'll probably stick around. I got free unlimited Canada calling and North America calling, so I might be around for sure.
Okay, well, your line's open. I'll leave it open, and you're on the board, but I just want to see if this is Stola has called in.
Yeah,
no
hello.
Hey, there you are.
Wonderful show. You're really beating them up. No, but I'm in the other stations and all the shit they talk about. It's no.
Oh, I know it. Madness.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So it's very hard to understand that you're a god. Really hard. But I've seen the proofs many times, and you you speak them. So no doubt about that. So Kyler or anyone talking about the other shit, they can they have to start.
Yeah, it's get out of the illusion. Stop playing their little game. And it's so frustrating when I see people talking in terms of, well, you're not this because of some Congress thing or statute or confederation or whatever. It doesn't matter to me. Look, you're still stuck in the bullshit. You still think the courts are real. You don't know who you are. You haven't a clue as to who you are.
That's it.
And I know you guys, how many of us have been around this table so many times? And I know you all see it. I know you do. That's why you're here. I mean, if there is a claim to fame at all, the most pride I have is in knowing that I get to sit around the table with the most tuned-in people on this planet. That's cool.
Yeah, for sure. It is.
And we get to sit with you.
Thanks to all of you. Yeah.
See how it works? Isn't it beautiful? It's just nice to see people finally just starting to get it. This is the linchpin, the wrist pin that will collapse their entire system. And all we need to do is that one little letter. If you want to fire it off to law firms, fire it off to police stations, doesn't matter. Just fire it off everywhere. It's your intention that's going out. And of course, I got to tell you, there was a lot of intention and pure energy put into that document to expose the fraud. Is it the court's intent to aid and abet me into using a name that I know fully that is mine, that was taken from me and defrauded? My parents were defrauded from it by being convinced that it had to be a gift or, what was it, gamete intrafallopian something or other, whatever. Yeah, you know what I mean. See what I mean, though? It's right there. It's all allegory. Like, that one floored me again, because I looked that up before, that gift thing, a big red star beside it. I've got them all through this book, but that one just jumped out again. I thought, holy shit, there it is. Again, the allegories are getting so much more visible now. But Adam, what I will suggest to you, there's not much on that kateofgaia.wordpress.com page, the writings. It would probably, if you wanted to read everything on it, would take you maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours tops.
Right. I already went through that, and I'm only looking at this as somebody that can't read.
Yeah.
And even me being intellectual, you confuse me.
Well, did you read the long and short of it?
Oh, I might have missed that article.
Okay, the long and short of it. It's why I tell people to get both of those, because the long and short of it is the layman's way of explaining what the I who shall not be named is all about. I write it in their language, leaving no stones unturned, and I also write it in everyday, easy to understand. I'm actually tempted right now. Oh, hang on, I think Randy's wanting to get in here, so I'll risk it. Things seem a little bit stable. Oh, I better get to my call first. I'm tempted to read long and short of it right now.
You did good by earlier, like you told Adam to kind of let's go back to birth.
Yeah, you walk through it.
Lesson. You go back to that. It's kind of the simple step to take people of where to start with this. Just exactly how you did it.
Well, we had to uncover the fraud. Okay,
it began
from both sides, right? We had to get to the original sin, and we had to understand that we are the original sin in as much as they are. But something had to be the cause to make us add effect to it. There's always cause before effect, right? I use universal law, cause and effect, which is the magnetic electric. Okay, the magnetic is the cause, the electric was the effect. Oh, hey, Randy, how are you? Still got your phone, do you?
Hello. Sorry.
That's all right, buddy. No worries. What I would suggest is if you're not talking, if you've got some noise in the background, just mute your mics out, because I can't do it from here.
Oh.
Yeah. It looks, hey, Randy, mute your mic out on Skype for me, buddy. Guess we're going to hear a couple of conversations now. All right. Yeah, so I'm like absolutely tempted to read long and short of it. So let me get to it. I'm not going to open it up on.
Which one are you talking about?
The long and short of it. That's the essay.
Oh,
that's what it's called. The long form, short form. Right. All the expressions.
I didn't get that one.
It's on the Kate of Gaia. Yeah.
It's easier and quicker for you to open them on Kate of Gaia.
That's where I'm going right now.
Because they open real fast. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I was just going to say there. I'm not going to Word document because it chugs my computer. And it is lightning quick on Kate of Gaia when my computer decides to be fast. So just give me a second here.
I think the issue with some people, perhaps Adam, you're getting confused because you really need to empty your head before you approach these documents. Because nothing else you think you know is probably relevant or helpful.
Yeah, none of it.
So if you can empty your head and then look at them. We've got unmuted mic everywhere here.
Somewhere. Randy?
Yeah.
Randy?
You know, I'm just going to stop managing this restaurant. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm hitting mute.
Mute on your end, and you can still hear us. I just need you to mute because it's a bit noisy for us here. Thanks, buddy. No worries. No worries. It's all good. What are we dealing with? Let's fix it. Move on. It's all good. No harm, no foul. Okay, here we go. Yeah, perfect point, Ninja. Thank you. I actually should have said that to pre-qualify everything. Forget everything you thought you ever knew about legal, lawful. I don't care what angle of law you looked at. Put it in the garbage. Because that's what I had to do. I had to figure it all out first to realize that I'm just spinning in circles here. Pull off all the layers, and they're still they stole my house too. They don't follow their own rules because they don't have to. Because I'm the criminal. I'm the fraud. You know, so. All right. Oh, someone's got the speakers going. Your mic's open. You know how happy that makes me. All right, just cracking it open now. So bear with me, guys. It's not that long to give the understanding. And I will suggest to everyone, get to kateofgaia.wordpress.com. Ninja set it up, thankfully, beautifully. Everything you need is there. Spend the time. And like I said, you could read all the stuff that's there in about an hour and a half, 2 hours tops. And I'm talking a slow reader. But if you take long and short of it and read it 3 or 4 times, by the time you get past the second one, you're already in the game. You already know what's going on. You know, and this is the explanation to the I who shall not be named. This is the layman's way of giving the concepts as to what happened and how the tables get turned in the fraud. Because there had to be an intent to commit fraud before we became criminal. There had to be a criminal to create one. See, it takes one to know one. That's why they want us silent in court when we know who we are. That's why the judge bowed. He was in dangerous territory. Very dangerous territory. And he knew he had to yield, and he knew he had to bow to the divine feminine. Bow to stern, baby. Admiralty rules. Bow to stern. Bow to the divine feminine mind. And the other side of it, too, was, you know, maybe it's the Leo Ascendant or something, whatever with me, because regardless of how terrified I am in a situation, I can still walk into it, and people will fear me because of my intensity.
And people are afraid. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No.
People are afraid, Kate, that maybe, and I say all of us, you
yes.
know, we included, not just me, afraid of maybe that we won't be able to exist.
I think that's a big part of it. Because that's the ego program saying, I need to survive.
Yeah.
Well, here's my answer to that. Well, so do I. So why do you guys matter more than me? If I'm giving you the truth, why do you guys matter more than me? Why should I be the only one standing doing this? Why should it be my problem? I don't think that's very fair. You guys are here looking for truth. I'm giving it to you. No one wants to stand in it. So how the hell is that fair to me? You know, so... I that's the mirror. I'm going to throw the mirror out. That's not a victim either. That's not a guilt trip. That's a fact. It's a reality. Everyone wants their cake, and can I eat it too? No. What do you want? That's catch-22, baby.
Well, you didn't melt. You didn't turn into a puddle of water and melt.
No.
When you went through, you're still, you still exist.
I went through a lot of things that others don't have to now. This information can stop foreclosures. This information can stop anything in the courts. Anything.
Which is why I will be speaking later, or sometime.
Absolutely, yeah. We can
off the show.
Yeah, we can have a chat after the show for sure. So here we go. Here's the long and short of it, boys and girls. Available for free. Sorry, I'm not an expensive guru. I even have a hard time asking for help. Anyway, here we go. It has been a long road to get here. It has been hard to come to terms with many of the lies and fictional realities we have been so carefully trained to believe in. The biggest hurdle of all was in the realizing of the need to let everything go and to unpack the camel, that it may pass through the eye of the needle of the Emerald City's walls. A physical reality is a tough one for most to step aside from and seek the inner workings of self and all, but it is a necessary step, lest one remain in the circular traps so perfectly set for all of us. Hope I didn't get knocked off there.
Can hear you.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, thank you. Whoever's on the board, I just heard a couple of drop-offs. All right, back to the document. Here we go. Sorry, I had to go back to the board, check it. So, come on, computer. Any day now. Yeah, I see. I love when this happens. Oh, echo. Someone needs to mute this guy. Okay. Mute someone. It's going to be annoying. Okay, there we go. Thank you. Okay, a physical reality is a tough one for kings of self and all, but the necessary steps remain in certain traps so perfectly set for all of us. We live in a world of commerce, a world like all of Babylon, both from the physical and spiritual perspective. In order to be owned, one must give up mind, body, and soul, and I'm most unwilling to do so. It is the world of belief, fictional characters created for each and every one. You have seen them take hold of all strings of the world, blows the masses wittingly, yet willingly perform for these most cunning of puppet masters. We have all been deceived, where so few, now becoming the many, are awakened from this long-lasting sleep, having eaten so hungrily of the apple the witch of Babylon has offered. Oh, so many have been duped and beguiled of this mistress of deception, where have fed upon each other to the glee of those pulling your strings. And while we can talk of blame and injustice, it is we who must face the mirror and come to terms with the fact that we, not they, are the true problem. The issue at hand is one of ignorance of self, the unwillingness to see into our own lives and face the mirrors of the darkest reflections. We will fight and we will cling to all that we think of as right and just, whilst we, at the same time, are the cause of all our own woes. For me, it was not a matter of how to lay bare the dishonor of so many that was already obvious. It was more a matter of how it was me that was allowing it by being more in dishonor of the truth. Ignorance of the law is not a defense of or from the law, that being the universal, natural kind, not the man-made fictional law that works to mimic it. It is difficult to play any game with an adversary that will change the rules, inasmuch as we give them the power to do so. We are as children in this regard. When one grows up, one decides the game unworthy of even taking it out of the box it deserves to remain in, such is the way of Pandora. So where to begin explaining this game from its physical and spiritual mirror perspective? I like to begin by reminding myself that the physical realm that surrounds us is the illusion where only cause and effect clues reside. There are no answers in it, none whatsoever. It is merely the game board of consciousness where some have mastered it and use that knowledge for malfeasant purposes, flying in the face of creation while embracing creation at the same time. Some may shout dichotomy, but the simple truth is all opposites are the same and only differ in degrees of the observer's willingness to see it. Yes, The mess you're in is your fault, if you have the courage to face that. As for the examples of that, one need look no further than the religion of the legal system, and indeed nowhere else. The truth of the matter remains that all things legal are all things religion, inasmuch as the legal system was born of it. The earliest courts, churches were, and still are, the basis of the same systems today, where there is no separation of church and state, period. They are one and the same, and their purpose has been unwavering in its control of the masses for countless eons. That reign of terror, however, is finally over. Only when one begins to see the connection between church, feigning spiritual, and state acting as a physical, can one begin to see the true divide and conquer. What is most profound is that most within positions of assumed power are owned more completely than any slave of the common realms ever could be. A slave understands freedom, where one who thinks they are free is the most trapped of all. Even the reference to their religious garb and political robes are called the trappings of office. Nonetheless, the finely programmed egos of these beings keep the clearest of truths just out of range of their most narrow vision. My search was one of very simple nature, in that I had to find the one thing that every human on earth had in common, would take them from cradle to grave in that commonality, and something they would defend to the death for assuring a permanent state of fraud on their part and no one else's. The biggest clue was found at the end of their lives, and it can be found on the tombstones of the many that never lived in the eyes of the system. It perfectly matched the only document ever offered freely by any church, state, or government. The design of the trap was so perfect in its efficacy, it made us make slaves of ourselves, and any attempt to fight for freedom would always result in our own fraud, our own contempt of court, and inevitably our belligerence and circular vengeance. The slavery had to be freely given on our parts, and in our ignorance. It had to be something that fed the ego of the belligerents and the coffers of the clergy, and all the while they retained their full honor and universal law standing. While the masses fight for what they think is right, they feed their own fires of hate, discord, and division. The more unjust the system would get, the harder they would fight, empowering the very system that is feeding off of them. The litmus test for this is quite easy to see, and it will be the ones fighting this concept that proves the worthiness of the trap, rendering it inescapable for the majority. This is the Chinese finger trap in full bloom, where the harder you pull to extricate yourself from it, the more it holds on until one tires enough, relaxes their grip, and voila, your fingers escape easily. There is a reason why the fangs of a serpent are pointing inward, in that the more the prey struggles to free itself, the deeper the fangs sink in, and why it is best to avoid the snake in the first place, no? So what could be so simple as to permeate this most perfect Chinese finger trap on humanity? Well, for the astute and for those that have listened to me speak or read my writings, you already know where I'm going. But for those less aware of what I speak of, the answers was, and always will be, the name. I will share a few perspectives on this to aid in the observations of the trap, where many of you may scoff. Always keep in mind, I care what you believe, and neither does the truth. That's a simple fact. I have my experiences where this has all been laid bare for me, and I've shared this truth for years now, albeit getting easier to share with people seeing this or themselves. You can spend all the time you want in their courtrooms, but there is only one certainty you can ever expect, and that is the fact that the courts are their game, rigged to their rules, and they want everyone to play because it is guaranteed that they will win every time and, quote, lose, unquote, a few, just to keep the lottery illusion alive that on occasion someone wins a case or two. This is the same philosophy a carnival gamer uses. They love to let people win their useless junk because the profits far exceed the expenses. Same things with the courts. So who is the carnival clown then? There will be many that still won't get it after they read this, but it is my hope and intention that they can swallow enough pride and ego to find the keys that will set them free. The chains that you think are binding you are the very ones that keep you firmly in your grip. All you have to do is let go. But many of you won't, and to your own peril, and so be it. Where the true power of the name comes into play is the sudden realization that everything you've worked for, everything you own, and everything you will ever own up until you let go, was gotten via fraudulent means, using a name that does not belong to you. This is a very tough pill to swallow, and many of you are already choking, will spit it up and go on doing what the puppet masters want you to do. You will continue to commit fraud day after day, And you will be happy to do so, as long as you keep getting your trinkets and scraps using a stolen identity and fraudulent, worthless pieces of debt paper. The system had to get us to aid and abet in our own fraud to retain the upper hand of honor, where we were always coming forward with unclean hands. It had to be sold to us in such a way as we would see the benefits and miss the tricks and dive headlong into our own fraud and fight to the death to maintain it. It is so easy to control a child with treats, and they don't have to be big ones either. Just treats is enough most days. To bring this into perspective, let me share a few fundamental definitions of words for you without going into the deep etymological sources. Suffice it to say, been there, done that, and cracked the code to the very letters. Let's take a look at the word register, for example, and what its real meaning is. There are two very clear words there for me, the first being regis, which is Latin for to rule, and stir, which means creative divine feminine essence, and is akin to star, where you can at once see the relevance of star contracts from Black's Law, 9th edition. So the word means quite literally to rule the divine feminine, or creation herself. Many of you who may be versed somewhat in legalese will recognize the term pro se, which means to speak for yourself in a court setting. This translates into for himself, herself, itself. And if you don't believe it, look it up for yourself. The word prosecute translates into do not pursue in legal realms, where its mirror in mainstream think is one of going after someone in court to prosecute. The truth is, they don't have to pursue anything, because the mere fact that you are in a courtroom and don't know who you are is sufficient to convict your sorry ass for contempt and identity theft of intellectual property that was freely given to them. I'm sure much of this is not sitting well with you, but then it's the warring nature of the ego to want to fight, flee, or freeze, since it is ruled by the reptilian brainstem. Only when we decide to raise our level of thinking into the higher brains can we begin to set ourselves free. Allow me to share a few facts as experienced by myself. On that document, the only one ever given to my parents, regarding their deal with the devil, called the birth certificate, it states quite clearly, warning, a certificate is not evidence of identity, yet go and try to get any state ID without one. If it's not meant to be used for identity, then what the hell is it for? It also says, caution, there are offenses relating to falsifying or altering a certificate and using or possessing a false certificate, Crown copyright. It can be easily seen that if one were to use this document for such a thing as identification, one would be creating a false certificate and then possessing it. I can get all into measure of what it's used for, such as bonds creation, money creation, allowing for signature, hypothecations, etc., and on, but I'm interested only in its fundamental purpose of tying the living spirit to the dead fictional realms. The birth certificate is actually a death certificate. We can also go on discussing all manner of legal attributes as per the hopes of those that designed the game to keep you looking everywhere but within, so I won't even bother. And if that's where you want to go, you're missing the point yet again. I've been where you are. I've made the legal arguments ad nauseum, and I assure you that is exactly what the system wants you to do, because in doing so, they keep you fighting in their courts, their system, and ultimately in their religion of Baal worship, with the whore of Babylon owning your sorry asses every time. You can talk to me all day about this document and that procedure, this tactic and that remedy illusion, but for me, the fact remains. How are you going to do this without using their name? The fact is, you can't, and it was designed that way. There is but one thing left to do and one question left to ask any court. Who owns the name? I already know the answer, and so do they. The trick is getting you to be the name and do things in their image of you they created, or better yet, of the you they created. We can go into Roman maxims for things like silence equates acquiescence, qui tacit consentire videtur. My Latin's weak, don't mind me, but I know what they mean. He who is silent appears to consent. That's from Jenkins. Where there is also silence upon the deceiver, and thus their own acquiescence to committing it knowingly or unknowingly. That's fraude fraudum. It is fraud to conceal a fraud. There's a good one, eh? And fraude dolus nemini patriotinari debent. Fraud and deceit should excuse no man. Imagine that. Scrolling, anytime now. There we go. Oh, scroll too far. Okay. I prefer to use simple analogies in that the one doing the stabbing with a knife also turns the knife upon themselves, as per the golden rule. In a nutshell, it works like this. Mom and Dad, not knowing any better and trusting in others to not harm or defraud them, have been told that it is customary to register their children with the state and or church, called baptism. Regardless, there is no division of church and state in that they are one and the same as previously stated. The clergy of old were the courts of old, and thus the judges and lawyers which became the bar society, and, of course, the governments and lawmakers as a result. In essence, the foxes are guarding all the hen houses. The parents, having done what they thought was right and being trusting, never assumed that anyone could be so evil and devious as to spiritually kidnap their children from them, and had no real questions to ask, and no truths of what was really going on was given. Shortly thereafter, a document called the long-form birth certificate is created, which is the original fraud, and then a short form was also created, which creates the fictional corporation or dead thing, person, straw man, or whatever you want to call it. Bottom line, the short form is the proof of the fraud. Mom and Dad, being none wiser as to their actions, keep using the name they gave up for adoption to the state by addressing their child with it, convincing the child that the name is theirs when in fact it is not. Mom and Dad are guilty of aiding and abetting their child into fraud, absolving the state of dishonor until this disclosure is asked for. Indeed, who owns the name now? It certainly isn't you, and the sooner you get that concept, the sooner you'll stop aiding and abetting in your own frauds and being possessed by possessions. Did you never wonder why they refer to belongings as possessions or repossessing things? The original fraud goes back even further, with Mom and Dad getting married in a church or through a government office. Did you get married in a church and sign a marriage license? Well, then if you did, the church and state owns your marriage and everything done within the confines of that contract. And it is a contract of a most spiritual nature. I have no doubts on that. Now, to get a little deeper into the spiritual traps here, one must ask oneself as to why the system goes after the feminine creation aspect, and here's where I'm going to lose a lot of ego-driven, uber-programmed churchianity types that can't let go of the most insidious program of all, regarding the patriarchal control of their minds. Dare to read on if you can and see if you can get past all the dogmas and indoctrinations that have been slammed into you since birth. When one understands the true nature of creation, one will quickly see that it is the feminine that brings forth creation, not the masculine. It's even spelled out in Black's Law 9th for you, if you can read it. I am adding it here for your perusal with an explanation of its more ethereal and spiritual bindings. Ward of Admiralty. A seaman, so called because of the legal view that a seaman, in contractual matters, should be treated as a beneficiary, and the other contracting party as a fiduciary because of the perceived inequitability of their bargaining positions. Sorry, guys. Computer's a bit slow here. Went far. All right, there we go. I am the stock of my mother, father, self-evident in the blood ether in my lineage veins, mitochondrial DNA, delta 9 Lucifer, delta 10 mDNA, from my mother, which is prima facie evidence of my bloodline, RHA positive. Where my father, look, there's Rho again, RH, Rho, spirit breath, A positive. Where my father is a beneficiary of any all ascendants born to him. The father, semen, of any all born to him render him the beneficiary only, whereas the mother is fiduciary. This is where one needs eyes to see and ears to hear. Semen is merely the word courts and the masters of deception revel in. If anyone asks for me to give me your name, I have but one simple answer, and that is no. But I will let you hear my customary calling if you need a sound to reference my physical body by. Here's why I will never give anyone anything without my intention to do so willingly, because here, as below, is also a contract, as above. It was said to me once by one of the lawyers from the City of London State Bar member that here it is all about contract. The use of the name without explicit permission from its rightful owners, the Crown, is engaging in fraud and the use of stolen intellectual property as confirmed in voice and in face-to-face conversations with an embassy official of the British High Consulate, Ottawa, Canada, that it is, in fact, fraud to do so, and why I was able to procure an emergency passport as a result. I have been lied to by more so-called officials, legal types, judges, and politicians than I care to count, and the one thing they all have in common is that they know they're doing it, and where I revert to Fras et dolus nemini patricinari debent, fraud and deceit should excuse no man. rendering all frauds null and void, nunc pro tunc, upon its revelation. What I did learn over time was how to ask the right questions, to corner them by getting them to be doing me harm otherwise. Questions like, is it your wish that I commit fraud? Or is it your intention to aid and abet me into committing fraud by using a name that clearly does not belong to me? These are the mirrors they cannot stomach because they know what they're doing. Many of them, and especially the ones that claim to be just doing my job. There is much joy to be found in frauds, however, once they are mirrored back, because there is no limitations placed on a fraud regardless of how long it takes to expose it. That is the joy of nunc pro tunc, or now for then, which eliminates the time aspect, bringing all crimes into the now for all to see. For those that still can't see the truth in how it is we who are aiding and abetting in our own fraud, let me clarify it for you further. Scrolling. Where was it? There it is. Okay. Here are a few questions that you need to ask yourself honestly. The truth cannot be denied within, no matter how hard you try to convince yourself otherwise. If you cannot face up to these realities, then you're not awake or mature enough to be considered enlightened. Sorry to inform you. My mirror informed me nicely, and no, I wasn't happy either. Here they are. Do you have any government ID whatsoever, such as a driver's license, a passport, or anything of that nature? Do you have a bank account or credit debit card? Do you have any loans or mortgages with contracts in the system? Do you feel the incessant need to fight in courts? Do you sign things like checks, applications, or any manner of paperwork? In short, do you use the name on the birth certificate every day in all your transactions and communications? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then you are committing fraud. You're in contempt of court and are seen as a belligerent. People ask how the cops get away with beating people on the street, and I say it's easy. They're beating up a criminal who insists on committing fraud by virtue of the identification they carry and how they procured it of their own will choice to go into a fraudulent contract using a name that doesn't belong to them. Unless, of course, you think that writing checks on someone else's account is a good and lawful thing, that is. Anything and everything ever created in your universe using the name on the B does not belong to you. Period. And like Bill Hicks says, I can hear your inner dialogue. You're wrong. Get over it. Shut up. Until you can face up to the fact that you've been duped grand scale, you will continue to fight a losing battle with the whores of Babylon because of your mark of the beast, and they know it. They have you right where they want you, in a permanent dishonor, until the question of who owns a name is the first question asked if you must go into court. For further understandings of how the courts work and get their power beyond this most basic truth, you may wish to look very closely at Tammy Pepperman's work, and I still promote that because she has some really good understandings, where she exposed the Achilles heel of the divine feminine I have referred to. Now, to give a backup to that, what Tammy Pepperman refuses to do is acknowledge the very basis of this, of what I'm talking about, because she still uses her name. All right, but there is very fundamental information that Tammy uncovered with how the money worked with what do you call it, with the courts, and how they were after the divine feminine. And all I've done is illustrate it. But if you carry a name and go into court, you're still committing fraud, and it'll go on ad nauseum. So anyway, just wanted to clarify that. While I agree with her approach and what she's done, she still hasn't figured out who she is yet. And I did try to tell her, and she didn't want to hear it. So that's okay. It's all good. In order for the dark principalities to control this place and our lives and minds, they must take our creative spiritual energy to give them the energy these vampires require to continue. No, this is not just a physical game, and truth be known, the physical is the smallest percentage of it, where the real power lays hidden to the blind. I know many of you may finally start to see the gravity of this situation and are asking yourself what to do as far as getting back into honor. The first thing that needs to happen is to wake up to this reality and shift your intention. It is too easy to become overwhelmed with all the situations and entanglements you have in this life, but have some peace knowing that you have a new perspective as to your slavery and how you're being made to serve it. Changing one's intention requires the baby steps doctrine, and only doing the things you need to do and can do easily, step by step. For some of you, calling up your bank to have a chat with a bank manager regarding who owns the name, account, etc., You may wish to ask some CRA or IRS branches some of the tougher questions, all the while making sure you commit them into aiding and abetting the frauds. It's really quite simple that without the name being used, and more important, signatures being given, period, this system and its vampires starve literally overnight. For the more spiritually awake and astute, you will already understand that the signature comes after the intent spiritual contract and not before it. Actions always come after thoughts. If you intend it, it is contract without another thing being physically done. I'm going to add another article at the bottom of this essay that is, excuse me, that is what I sent to various government offices, etc., to get my intent out there. But because I know the power of intent, where the cause and effect is already rippling through the universe. Always remember, you're gods, and you've been duped out of it for a very long time and have suffered immensely over many lifetimes. Time to wake up once and for all. The truth is, lose the name, end the game, so we can all get back to being the incredible creators we are, and not the mindless slaves we became. Much love and light. Kate. P.S. Why it is important to understand what a gift really is. Gift, a voluntary transfer of property made without consideration, that is, for which no value is received in return. The essential components of a valid, completed gift of personal property are competency of the donor to understand the nature of his act. Well, we were incompetent, right? They call us incompetent. And Mom and Dad were incompetent. They didn't understand the nature of their act, so it couldn't be a gift. Voluntary intent on the part of the donor to make a gift called donative intent. Delivery, either actual or symbolic. Acceptance, actual or imputed. Complete divestment of all control by the donor, and lack of consideration for the gift. A transfer that constitutes a gift may be of significance in several tax contexts. For example, a receipt of a gift is excluded from the gross income of the recipient, but the transferor may be subjected to the unified estate and gift tax. Yeah, they like to get it coming and going. Right? Given name, incompetently given by parents due to non-disclosure, voluntary only on a deceptive non-disclosed basis, and fraudulent intent by the deceivers, nullifying intent on the donors. Enough said. With dominion and how this sews up very neatly. So there you go.
Excellent.
I think it's pretty clear, personally.
Well, it is. It's going back to, what you touched on earlier, and from the beginning onward,
Yeah.
Sorry, I was distracted here for a minute.
No, that's okay.
to talk about the gift, in Norwegian there are two meanings of gift. One is to be married, the other is poison.
Yeah, again,
strange.
Well, every poison is the cure, and every cure is the poison. The only thing that changes is the perspective and the intent. That's it. Cause and effect, baby.
It's everything holding the power together. And if that falls, then they have no more power.
Thank you. Someone's very awake spiritually.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. That's how we take this down. We're not taking it down the physical. You can stare at all this shit all day long. All day long. People that stare at it are looking at the literal. They're not seeing the allegories. I just saw a post. I was posting one of the rooms, and Tony had posted something regarding, I guess in Egypt, and there's an uprising, and Morsi, or whatever the guy's name is, he's under siege or whatever. Okay, great. What's the allegory? That to me is consciousness. That's consciousness waking. It's got nothing to do with physical meat sticks walking around beating the shit out of each other.
Bloodshed.
Let's keep that up. That's a good one. Keep doing what your priests and ministers and governments and cops and all the rest of them want you to do.
Yeah, it's entertaining for them to watch people kill each other.
Oh, absolutely. Nothing like. Hey, if you want a good war, how do you start a good war? Well, put a couple of religions together.
Yeah.
And the biggest religion on this planet is money.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sick of money. I really am.
Yeah. Well, and you know what money is. Money is a literal skin because it was created off the bonds, our souls. Yeah. These are all deals with the devil. Every single one of them. And how do we fix that? Well, we change the intent on it once we know what it is. We start treating it with a bit of reverence. We don't worship. They worship money because of what it can get them and what they've stolen. We have to have reverence for it, understanding that we need to use it for survival.
Yeah, it's what it all has become.
It's about the intent, right? Are you going to go out to Walmart or Tesco or wherever and get more landfill?
Yeah.
Or are you going to try to do something good with that? It's like we were talking the other night with the gentleman regarding what to do with money, when we went through a few different scenarios. And for me, it's about changing the intent. That's it. Instead of going out and spending $8 on a Starbucks coffee, take that $8 and go out and buy you can get a really healthy meal for someone on the street. Can you give up a latte for a day?
Oh, I don't want you to do that.
Oh, yeah. Can you give up your 4 or 5 triples?
Triple.
Oh, man. People that drink coffee triple, they scare me.
Oh, man.
It's like, why are you bothering? Just go get a coffee crisp.
Just eat it. Eat the grounds. Just chew it. Swallow it.
Tell you what, take a bowl of sugar, throw some milk in it, and some coffee grounds. There it is. There's your breakfast. That'll get you going. That'll spin you out backwards, Don't forget that casein, the glue, that's over 80%, I think it's 85 or 86% of the protein in milk is casein, which is glue. And you wonder why people are fat.
Yeah.
Right? Dairy is the worst thing you could ingest. It's designed to make calves what? Fat. You want to get rid of the fat, then get rid of the dairy.
And that's the frustration, though, is that we know these things, and it's just getting people to, and there are more getting aware of it, but it's just getting to a point to where it's like, if you don't stop, then I can't.
Well, I can't help anybody. That's not up to me. I mean, I made my choices. I don't eat anything that has a face, and I'm at the point where I don't even eat anything that came from a face.
I don't either anymore. I can proudly say.
What was lettuce and tomatoes and a couple of apples. That's what I've eaten today. I typically have maybe 300-400 calories a day.
Well, that's the whole thing. Really, you don't need all this just piled on shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what everybody needs.
Well, what do they say? They say you need depending on what age you are. I think for me it's like a 2,200 or 2,300 calorie a day diet. Are you kidding me? Do you know how fat I'd be if I was doing that?
Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack.
Well, it's all routine, right? They want you to get. The proper way to eat is nibble on something when you're hungry.
Yeah.
That's it. You don't need it's 9 o'clock, we have to have breakfast. It is now 12 o'clock, we must have lunch. It is now 5 o'clock, we must have supper. It is now 7:30, we must have, after supper tea and dessert. And of course, better have the midnight snack too. Pile it on. Throw a beer in there too, maybe a case.
And
that's kind of how I used to be.
The Will E cartoon. Anyone seen that one?
Which one?
It's about the Will E. Willy, W-I-L-L-Y. Willy?
Yeah, Willy.
It's
Willy,
Disney.
Oh, Willy.
No. Maybe.
Okay.
It's a little garbage compressor. It's compressing garbage into squares. And it's left on the planet when everybody left here.
It's not Willy. It's, what's his name?
E.
Will E. That's right. It's.
What is it?
Well, it's a great movie. It's actually a beautiful allegory of humanity. That's exactly what humanity is. Basically. Oh no, not Willie. It's Wall-E.
Wall. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No.
Wall-E. Right.
Wall-E.
Yeah. You want to see humanity? There it is. That's what humanity is. Guys, and I will tell everyone that has any doubts to watch that and have a really good look at yourself, because that's exactly what it is.
And that's exactly how it's gonna become if we don't stand in the truth and forget all the distractions.
Yeah, and that's another good point, Kate. People are afraid to look at themselves. Well,
they're terrified. They don't
look at themselves and what they're doing.
It's somebody else's problem. It's somebody else's fault.
Yeah.
So, just one sec. I just gotta let Santo. I'm on the air. On the air for 20 minutes. Okay. Yeah. Wow. That went really quick tonight, eh?
Oh yeah.
Always does, though, eh?
Always when it's great. When it's great stuff, it just kind of to flow and time eludes us.
Well, I like what I shared. It's pretty straightforward. You get the concept, right?
I get it.
Okay, that's all I need for people to do is just get the concept. Now you've got somewhere to start from. Everyone's got this walk they think they're doing, and it's this, that, and the other, and blah, blah, blah. You get all confused and all the rest of it, but they don't know where to start. What I've given them is the start of the yellow brick road. Now what do you do from there? That's yours, and you need to start taking baby steps. That's about changing the intention. I've said it many times. The intention starts with, okay, well, I'm not going to be a part of, and you don't have to do everything at once. You don't have to be like me, okay? As soon as I find a truth, okay, I'm not doing it anymore. That's just me. Yeah. That's my nature. That's it. Done. And I haven't always been that way. I've always, always walked in truth. But when I made that absolute commitment to say, as soon as I find truth, I stand at it, and I don't have a choice anymore.
Remember, it goes back to that phrase, of being able to handle the truth. The truth is always what the truth is, and there's just the fact that people can't really handle it. They just can't.
No, agreed.
For whatever purpose, for whatever reason at the time, maybe they will later. Maybe like me, I was scared of it at first, and I was like, oh my God, this is the truth, but I knew it.
Yep, I hear you. Sorry, just letting them know that if there's an individual that might be in the call, and I have no time for him. He's pure ego. I gave up that a year ago. Okay. Sorry, it's just Sano's tagging me here. There's an individual who wants me to talk with. So, they're not going to like me.
You already know.
I already know that. People can't handle this. They can't handle the truth that all of their brilliant intellect in deciphering and uncoding. I've already done that. I can spit lawyers out and judges pooey, done.
Oh.
They don't scare me. You should have seen me the last day in the crown attorney and the judge. Up one side of both of them, down the other. I didn't give a shit. What are you going to put me in chains, put me in jail? Right, you already done that. Look what that got you. Got you a whole bucket full of truth, and me plenty of time to think about what I was going to say when I got here.
No, they've accomplished scaring a lot of people into fearing them, and that's usually the first thing that gets them in trouble is because they just. Have you seen people in court? They're sitting there just basically you can see them just rattling.
Yeah. And the thing is too, you got these people that walk in with, the day I was in for the Judge Bows, it was like a non-existent parking ticket that didn't exist. They were just testing me, but everyone who was in there was in for I don't know why they bothered to show up, because every one of them went up, got fleeced.
Yeah.
Not one of them. Actually, one individual, I think it was like $150 fine or whatever. Got removed, but there was between $30,000 and $35,000 collected that day, and that's a judge's commissions, guys. That's one guy's commissions. The real money's coming off the bonds, the bid, performance, and payment. There's your bid, mom and dad. Hey, want to have a kid? There's the bid. Dad bids mom. Well, she's got to do all the work, so she's got to think about it, right? Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I'll give you a child. Yes. Okay, we'll do that. So there's a bid. Now they got the contract bid. Right? And there's a performance, which of course involves the initial act and of course the building of the trust. And then there's a payment. Out comes Junior. Right? How does that work? Well, mom has to go into labor, and in Canada they call the performance bond the labor bond.
Oh.
Yeah. So mom goes into labor, and of course she has contract ions. They say contractions, but it's contract ions. Right? So she's in contract. Right? It's all
weird that once you know all this, that fear does just kind of go away.
Gone.
It does. I've noticed it with me. It's like once I've become acknowledged to all of this, it's like that fear just freaking goes. It's just like because you know the game. Because you know the game.
I know the game, and go ahead, put me in front of anybody, a chief, a judge, whatever. I'll tear them a brand new asshole and have fun doing it.
They almost become jokes. It really does.
Oh, they are. They are jokes. This is the point, and everyone's afraid of them. And they're all just a bunch of lying, deceiving bastards stealing your money.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they got guns. Yeah, but there's...
5 minutes after that contraction, they put a needle in the child to make so people won't understand they are gods. You know, that they can create. They want to destroy that at once.
Yeah, they can poke them with anything and do anything with them.
Oh, agreed. Totally. So, for me, it was about releasing that contract. It had to be spiritual. You're not going to figure it out in the physical. You can't. Not a chance. Sorry. Good luck with that. I appreciate your tenacity and your desire and all the rest of it and the noble nature of doing something, but here's the problem. The biggest problem of all is once people have the information, once they know and
really know.
Yeah, and don't do anything about it, now we got a universal issue, right? So this is what I was wanting to talk to you about, Michael. You're just like you're a hair away from it, so
I know.
It's just, you just got to step over it. I can show you how to do that. Actually, we've pretty much already done it tonight. If you get the concept and only carry the birth certificate, that is your intent made manifest. I promise you. Watch.
Well, I promise you, I'm going to do it.
Okay.
I am.
You'll shift your realm, bud, and it's like, what have I done? Maybe 30,000 kilometers in the car. Mm-hmm. I drive past them all the time. I don't exist. It's fun, actually.
Yeah, I mean, once you're to that point, and I know, and it's like I really do know how to do it. It's up to me.
It
really is up to me, and how I approach it. Everybody's going to have their different versions and ways and all that stuff, and trips and falls and whatever. And I know that. So, and then that's why I can't say for you, well, how do I do this, and instruct me on what to do here, because it's just, it's mine. It is my
yours to conquer.
Yeah.
You got to grab your own oar. I've got mine. Others have got theirs. We got the boat. All you got to do is grab the oar and jump in. That's it.
Yeah. You're just throwing the spears over in my boat and saying, go. Do it. You know how to throw them. You know how to do it.
You know how to do it. Everyone does. All I'm bringing to the table here is the original sin. That's it. And this whole thing comes down. And you heard the essays. I don't know if you heard them or not. The Raining Cats and Dogs.
Yeah.
1, 2, and 3. I mean, it's that I'm trying to show people the allegories and how they were grabbing us spiritually and how they're grabbing us physically and mentally. As above, so below. So what we need to do is get ourselves out of the effect of as below, physical, and be Perseus. Stop looking at Medusa. Use the shield and see it backwards in the mirror, and you will see it, and you will strike her head off every time.
Yeah. I know you don't like pedestals, but I'm telling you now that your information and wisdom has been very appreciated, and the knowledge you're putting out there, and
Well, that's not a pedestal. That's called
my brother and my sister. Both.
I am both. That's because we share this table. There are no pedestals, and I am grateful for the reflections in kind of you and everyone else that gives me the co-created experience, because I am the net result of the co-creation of all of you and everything I ever came into contact with. So that's why the gratitude must flow both ways. It's not that it must; it just does. That's natural. That's natural ebb and flow.
Another point that, and then this will probably be included on another show or whatever, and kind of tied with this, is the indoctrination our kids in schools are getting, and all that good shit. That they're.
Oh yeah, well we are. That's the basis of the whole operating system. What we're doing now is we've figured out the basis of it, and if we truly want to save our children, then we save ourselves first.
Yeah.
It's like in an airplane. They give you the allegory, right? In case of complete decompression of the cabin, oxygen mask will drop from the ceiling. Please, parents, put the mask on yourself first before putting them on the children.
Yeah. Makes
Why?
sense.
Why? Well, because if you put it on the kid, you end up dying of asphyxiation because there's no air, and now the kid hasn't got a parent.
Yeah.
Right?
The kid had oxygen, so he could be alive to watch you die.
Yeah, and children actually are more capable of holding their breaths longer than adults, believe it or not. They're more resilient. They'll come back faster. And besides, you'd be clearer and faster once they drop. Get it on your face, and then get it on your kids. But you'd be amazed at what the ego does in terms of, it's my child. You know, it's all about I own it. I got to keep it, right? No. The only thing, all you parents out there, and I'm including myself in this, right? All you parents, the only thing you did for that meat stick was provide half the DNA. The consciousness, it's got nothing to do with you. And chances are that child could have been your mother or father in a previous life, could have been a brother or sister, and it could have been your worst adversary. You don't know.
Thank you. Good one.
You know, that's the whole point of warring or you know, being racist or being, you know, anti, you know, a Christian going Muslims are, you know, this, and Muslims going to Christians are, you know, whatever, right? You know, it goes back to I got to make these T-shirts. It says right on it, Christianity with a big. You can put any religion, Muslim or Islam or Judaism. It doesn't matter. I just like using Christianity because it's way more fun. Christianity ? Because a billion Buddhists must be wrong, and also my God is better than your God, and I'll kill you to prove it.
Oh yeah, that's dead on. Yeah.
There's religion. There's your religio cosis chosenitis for you.
That's brilliant.
That's a Kateism. I just call shit for what it is. You know, I don't pull any punches. I think you guys know that by now, and I'm pretty loose with it too. I don't care. I've got nothing to prove here. Nothing.
The truth is funny.
It is. It's hilarious. Yeah. George Carlin made it that way. So did Bill Hicks.
George, yeah.
You know, two of the greats, and
it's always the truth. The truth is the truth. Yeah.
Yeah, laughter is a sudden realization of truth.
Yep.
And truth, of course, is only a half-truth. So when it comes to jokes, you already have an assumed truth, and what comedians, the good ones, can do is show you laughter, sudden realization of the other half-truth. And it'll blow you away. And that's why, you know, people like Carlin were great, and Bill Hicks, and so many others. You know, it's because they were calling it for what it was. You know, and I will say, I mean, these two guys, there's others, but these two guys, see, I love to think along the same ways they do, or did, you know, because it made more sense to me. It was like, yeah, that's true, and I love truth, and of course, I'll hand it out, and on occasion, I might actually be funny, maybe, but it's all good. It's all good.
Well, please use caution tomorrow, even if there's any. Well, I know you're up in Canada, but I'll be hiding out here from people that are stockpiling their explosions and shit. And
yeah, I know, crazy.
Rocket launchers and missiles and shit. My animals will probably be all crazy.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. All these guns and everything else that everyone's stockpiling, whatever, they're useless. They'll never need to use them.
No, I'll be using them tomorrow night, probably.
Well, you're talking just to, you know, maybe shoot.
Well, yeah, just you know.
Yeah,
shooting the shit.
Yeah, shooting the shit. Yeah.
Remember that one? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I used that one the other day too to make a point to somebody, but.
Yeah, and it works. So, guys, girls, everybody, just
the animals. Yeah, the animals look to your reactions if you go locking them in the bathroom and making a lot of fuss because you read it in the newspaper. They are very afraid of such things. They will be afraid. If they look at you and you are absolutely calm, they won't be scared.
I agree with that because I have that with my own animals. They don't react to the fireworks at all because I don't.
If you notice, a lot of times animals, and I have cats, they will look in the direction or sound of it, and they'll look immediately at me to see what, you know.
What do I do? Yeah, well,
yeah, exactly. They follow your lead.
Yeah, cats and dogs, the next step is human. That's why they're close to us. The closest animals to us are the ones that are ready to elevate to the human state. That's why you can look at their consciousness and go, wow. And there are a few that, sorry, on your way back, are you?
Don't you love that when she says that, didn't you? Don't you just love it?
Sorry, just stating the truth, right? Oh yeah, that was a fun trip. I guess you won't be pulling that stunt again, will you? Yeah, because that's the problem with consciousness. We got about 3 minutes left here, but here's the problem with consciousness. Once you achieve it, once you achieve truth, and you don't stand in it, and you use your power and knowledge for malfeasant purposes, you will fall to the same degree that you were malfeasant. But you will never forget from where you fell. So
enough right there.
When you're a slug and someone's pouring salt around you because you were a pedophile, pope, priest, royalty or whatever, doesn't matter, the wealthy, high-end, abusing humanity, you get to be that slug and you get to be fully aware of the fact of where you came from. You will have full consciousness. You want to talk about hell? There it is.
Maybe a short experience, but you'll get to experience it.
It won't be short. No, you got to come all the way back. You go from slug, you get eaten by birds, and then you get shit out and whatever, and then your next level. Think of it moving on up through natural order. Where you get to be the prey, the whole way up.
They gave you that brochure, but when you came in the meat stick, you just forgot it.
Yeah. So when you finally achieve the ability of being the, quote, predator, unquote, it is up to you whether or not you bare your fangs or you turn herbivore like the rest of us.
True.
So there you go. Yeah,
love Kate.
Love you too, guys.
Appreciate everything, and we'll be in touch. So.
Okay, my friend. And thank you all for listening tonight, Outside the Box. Open forum. Catch you tomorrow night, same time, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you, criticalmassradio.co.uk. Always a pleasure to have you guys sitting in, and we're changing the world. You need to know that.
Video provided by verdictproductions.com.